On Germany's second birthday, he wasn't staying with me, but he ended up coming back on her birthday. We had sex, unprotected.
It wasn't baby making sex. It was angry sex.
It's not about baby making sex. Sex is sex. Whether it's baby making, love making, hate making, sex is sex, and she's still here as a baby. It don't matter what type of sex it was unprotected.
Do you believe you are Skylar's biological father?
Yes, ma'am.
And Your Honor,
he's not.
That's her ex-boyfriend, my daughter's.
Wait a minute now. Miss Cooper, this is your ex-boyfriend?
Yes, Your Honor.
That was a mistake, Your Honor.
Oh, wow. This case is a whole mess from the start. Judge Lake introduces Beckley vs. Allen, where Ms. Beckley is done with Mr. Allen dodging their daughter. Meanwhile, he's claiming this baby isn't his, and it's ruining his love life.
Ms. Beckley, you are in court today to prove Mr. Allen is the biological father of your 1-year-old daughter, Italy Beckley.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say Mr. Allen has only seen his daughter one time since she has been born, and you want him to take responsibility starting today.
This part is straight up wild. Ms. Beckley says they had angry, intimate violence on their daughter's birthday, and boom, pregnancy. Mr. Allen is like, that math ain't mathing, because she told him just 2 days later.
On Germany's second birthday, he wasn't staying with me, but he ended up coming back on her birthday. We had sex, unprotected.
It wasn't baby making sex. It was angry sex.
It's not about baby making sex. Sex is sex. Whether it's baby making, love making, hate making, sex is sex, and she's still here as a baby. It don't matter what type of sex it was unprotected.
It was angry sex. I was mad at the fact that she put me at the house, that I had been there taking care of her and the children.
Here come the receipts, and they are not looking good for Mr. Allen. Ms. Beckley shows that he signed the first 2 kids' birth certificates, but not Italy's. He swears it's because she refused a DNA test, but the judge is not buying it.
He signed Germany's and Xavier's birth certificate. Hers is not signed.
So the first one is for Germany, Jacqueline Allen. Father's name's there. Second one, Xavier Dantes Tyrell Jerome Allen. Father's name is there. Third one, Italy, Lisa Alexandria Beckley. No father listed.
This is where it gets real shady. The judge asks why he sees his other kids, but won't even FaceTime Italy. He blames Ms. Beckley for keeping her away, and she's like, "Sir, you said she wasn't yours. Make it make sense."
Well, Your Honor, I have questioned Shamia about Italy. You know, I asked, could I speak to her? She say no. We have swap and exchange at a police station. She don't bring Italy. She don't make Italy a factor to my life. She gave
You're denying her. Why would I bring her to see you?
She gave Italy her last name for the simple fact that she want to hurt me and break me down as a father.
This part feels like a budgeting lesson. The judge asks if he can even afford all these kids, and he starts mumbling. She tells him parenting is about quality, not quantity, and he looks stressed.
That doesn't mean that you've got to create more children to be the best father. That just means be the best father to the children you have, and until you are financially able, about being the quality of father you can be, not having a quantity of children. And that's just the truth.
I work hard for every dollar I get to provide for my children.
Oh, now we got the fiance in the mix. She says a neighbor told them Ms. Beckley claimed another man was the dad. Ms. Beckley goes full defense mode, and the judge has to gavel them into silence.
A neighbor of hers told you this.
A neighbor of hers contacted him and told me and him that she was telling another guy that he was the father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Beckley, were you made aware that there was someone saying that you told another man he was the father?
I wasn't aware, and I never said that.
Okay.
Never.
Time for the big reveal.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Allen, you are the father.
Told you. You too, fiance. Stepmama.
This case is crazier than a soap opera, but 100% real. The Hendricks couple is back in court. Last time, she accused him of cheating, and he passed a lie detector test. Now he's flipping the script, saying their baby isn't his, and things get messy fast.
Ms. Hendricks, you and your husband previously appeared in court because you suspected he was being unfaithful.
She was naked on the bed, and Chris was in there.
Oh, I'm perfectly aware of what's at stake.
Mr. Hendricks was asked, had he had sex with his ex? What was his response?
His response was no.
What did the lie detector determine?
The lie detector determined that he was being truthful.
Mrs. Hendricks is furious and says her husband must be blind because the baby looks just like him. She reminds him that she named the baby after him and even circumcised him, which feels like a weird flex. But just when you think she's got a solid case, her past actions make things look a little messy.
even though I've done everything he wanted me to do. Named him after him, circumcised him, did everything.
Mr. Hendricks, she says she did everything you wanted her to do, even name the child after you. You don't believe the child is yours?
I don't feel that bond like I do with my other children.
I even named him after your dad.
He barely looks like me. I'm not seeing any characteristics. He don't have any of my personal features.
You must
I'm
be
not
blind.
seeing as well as the others.
Things get sad real fast when Mrs. Hendricks reveals she had cancer and felt like her husband was cheating. She partied, drank, and stayed out late because she thought her life was falling apart. Now, her husband doesn't trust her, and the doubt is getting worse.
Last September, his Facebook messages were coming to my phone, and it was one of his coworkers. She was saying very sexual things to him. About 10 days later, I had found out that I had endometrial cancer. Whenever I was diagnosed with all of that, I just got very upset with everything that was going on with him. I was like, okay, well, you're cheating.
Just when things were already bad, a family member jumps in and says Mrs. Hendricks admitted to cheating. But Mrs. Hendricks denies it and says she only kissed a guy but blacked out after. Now her husband really doesn't believe a word she says.
Like I said, I'd been hanging out with them all. My brother had started a bonfire and everything. One of his friends that he'd hung out with and worked with came over. While we were hanging out, we were drinking whiskey. I had ended up kissing him. I immediately called him and asked him to come and get me. And I told him what happened. And he said, where are you? I told him. He came and he ended up leaving without me. I remember up to that point, and then after that, I don't remember because I kept drinking.
She found out she was pregnant by accident when she went to the hospital for something totally different. Mr. Hendricks isn't buying it and thinks it's weird that she got pregnant so easily after years of struggling. His suspicion only gets worse from here.
So you find out you're pregnant?
Yes.
Do you tell Mr. Hendricks immediately, I'm pregnant?
I had actually went into the emergency room because I had an internal hernia. My surgeon had ordered a pregnancy test, all this, because if I had to go in for surgery. They came back and said, you do realize you're very early pregnant. My HCG level was only 22, just implanted.
Which is the reason why I started doubting it right off the bat.
Mr. Hendricks points out that they needed fertility treatments to have their first child, but this baby just showed up out of nowhere. He says it's way too convenient that she got pregnant right after her party phase. To top it off, they literally paid for a 4D ultrasound to study the baby's face like a crime scene.
I even went to the extent we went and paid for a 4D ultrasound just to see if there were any kind of characteristics that looked like me.
And he looks just like you.
All I see is a blob.
even in a 4D, do you not see his eyes?
You don't see a blob, that's a baby.
You see the nose and eyes, but it was too early. I was very concerned. I wanted to know right then.
We fought over this.
This couple zoomed in on their baby's face like detectives, trying to find proof he looks like his dad. Mrs. Hendricks says he has the same eyes and nose, but Mr. Hendricks isn't convinced at all. Now, they're turning to science to get answers.
I've got this notch in my ear that my other kids have. This one don't even have it.
Oh, baloney.
They don't have any of the characteristics that I
premature.
have because I lost both my fathers and I want my last name to go on. When I pass, I'm not seeing it with this one. And this one is actually named after me and my father. The tribute to this is so insane that it crushes me even just looking at him.
Mr. Hendricks goes full detective mode when he realizes Christopher Jr. has a different blood type than their first kid. He's sure this is proof the baby isn't his, and honestly, it's starting to sound convincing. But wait, here comes a real doctor to explain what's going on.
It went to the extent when we were in the hospital that when he was born, he was not breathing for a minute and a half. Finds out he's got a blood disorder. Is crazy because it's fighting with her blood. But the more I got to thinking about it, none of my other kids have ever had this problem. Our 4-year-old daughter does not have this problem.
But it's not a genetic disorder.
A doctor steps in and says blood type drama is real, and this situation could happen even with a biological dad. But here's the catch. If it happened with this baby, it should have happened with their first child too. Mr. Hendricks still isn't buying it, and now emotions hit their peak.
Blood type is passed down from parent to child. A child will inherit one type from each parent. There's type O, A, and B. The mother has type O, the baby has a different type, such as A or B. And what happens is the mother's body sees that blood as foreign, which attacks the baby's blood and can destroy the blood cells, and the baby can get very sick. But we do know in almost every pregnancy that cells do pass back and forth.
For the first time, Mr. Hendricks stops arguing and starts crying. He says his family is his whole world, and he wants this baby to be his so badly. But before he can let his guard down, he needs that DNA test result.
This family is my planet. It's what I breathe. This one here just completes my solar system. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Wow. So you want this to be your child?
130%. I want them to be mine so we could be happy again. Put all this, BS behind us and go forward, be a family.
Well, that's why we're here.
Yes, ma'am.
The results are in, and boom.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Hendricks, you are the father. I told you.
This courtroom was straight up wild from the start. Ms. Autry swears Ms. Martin is lying about her son being the father and even claims to have proof. Ms. Martin claps back, saying the real problem is that Ms. Autry just doesn't like her.
Ms. Autry, you say the defendant is taking advantage of your son by pinning a baby on him, and you have physical proof that her 2-year-old daughter, Skyla, is not your grandchild.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Autry says Ms. Martin trapped her son by giving him money, clothes, and even a car. Then she takes it too far, throwing out some not-so-nice names. Judge Lake shuts it down fast, reminding everyone to keep it respectful.
Well, she entrapped my son by marrying him, by giving him things like money, clothes, car, you name it, she give it to him. And she just want a man to call her uncle. She ain't no but old tramp.
Wait a minute now. Let's use respectful language. You say she entrapped him, but she's giving him money. She's doing this. What does she want
She
from
want a
him?
man of her own.
She wanted a man of her own.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Autry got a call about the wedding and decided to physically stop it. She jumped out of bed, started walking, and got a ride from a friend, only for the wedding party to change locations to escape her. That's right. They had to move the wedding just to avoid her drama.
That's my husband.
That's your, oh, yes, your husband.
My husband.
Cause I got a phone call, so I was getting married down to my house, so I was on my way walking down there to start the marriage to my friend. That's why I was going out to go start the wedding.
She tried to stop the wedding, Your Honor. She tried to stop the wedding.
Way too close so you can get married to him.
She tried to stop the wedding.
Miss Autry, I missed all of that.
When Ms. Martin was in the hospital in pain, Ms. Autry showed up to announce that the baby wasn't her grandchild. She made such a scene that security had to kick her out. You'd think that would be enough, but nope, she still wasn't done.
Well, my son is not your baby father.
So once you came in, you were in pain. Once you came in, you were in pain. Miss Autry said, "This isn't my child." Somebody came in and said, "If you keep acting up, we're gonna put you out."
They put her out.
So you didn't stop acting up?
No, Your
She crazy, Your Honor.
What was she doing?
She was acting crazy. She was out in the hospital saying, "That ain't none of my son's baby."
Ms. Autry claims she knows Skyla isn't her grandchild because her toes don't cross and her eyebrows aren't thick enough. Ms. Martin argues that, she's 2, maybe give her some time. Judge Lake can barely keep a straight face, but the real shocker was still coming.
That little right one is kind of hedging over though.
Yes.
It's got to be fully crossed.
Yes, ma'am.
She only 2. I mean, give it time. The toes got to grow. Let them develop first.
They look like that big old toe.
She has toes like Miss Autry as well. They have little feet.
My toes don't. You want to see my toes?
Your feet are little, Miss Autry. My daughter has feet like her family. Miss Autry has small feet, and so does my baby.
Ms. Martin drops a bomb. She did tell her husband he wasn't the father, just to hurt him. She says she was mad that he left her for another woman. Now everyone's looking around like, wait, so who is the dad then?
You told him, your husband, that this was not his child?
Yes, Your Honor. I was trying to hurt him. He left me to go be with another woman, and I was trying to hurt him like he hurted me.
Did you sleep with another man?
Yes, Your Honor. Prior to him in 2014, June.
And she was already pregnant.
No,
Is there any chance that man could be Skyla's biological father?
No, Your Honor.
Enter Mr. Gott, who casually claims he might be the dad because he and Ms. Martin weren't exactly careful. Then we find out he used to date Ms. Autry's daughter, which makes everything 10 times messier. This ain't even a court case anymore. It's a soap opera.
Do you believe you are Skyla's biological father?
Yes, ma'am.
And Your Honor,
he's not.
that's her ex-boyfriend, my daughter's.
Wait a minute now. Miss Cooper, this is your ex-boyfriend?
Yes, Your Honor.
That was a mistake, Your Honor.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Martin.
I'll take that for 200, Your Honor.
Buckle up, because this case is packed with love, drama, and jaw-dropping twists. Ms. Whittier is 100% sure that Mr. Reed is the father of her 22-month-old son, Lucas. But Mr. Reed isn't convinced, especially after learning about Lucas's rare medical condition.
You say that you are sure Mr. Reed is the father of your 22-month-old son, Lucas. But the defendant's paternity doubts have led to constant fighting and tension in your relationship. You desperately hope to prove he is the father to save your family.
One argument changed everything when Ms. Whittier blurted, "How do you even know he's yours?" She insists she never doubted it, but those words stuck. What started as a petty fight turned into a full-blown court case.
Shortly before Lucas's birth, we had an argument. That argument led to the ultimate gonna shut him up kind of moment. So I said, well, how do you know if it's even yours?
You say that in the argument.
Yes, I never doubted it was his, but I just kind of wanted to end the argument and let it be done. And I've regretted that statement ever since I made it.
Their love story began with Mr. Reed's accidental hero moment, saving a child who didn't need saving. Ms. Whittier, impressed, invited him to dinner and sparks flew, but their romance didn't stay picture perfect for long.
How did your relationship begin?
Tried to save my toddler that he thought was drowning. He didn't realize she could swim.
Oh, that's cute.
It was a baby, and she was adorable, cute little stubby thing running around the pool in a little swimmer diaper. Jumps in the pool, so I'm laying in a lawn chair, getting my tan on. And here she goes. I look up, she jumps in the pool, and I'm right behind her. And
After Mr. Reed moved away, Ms. Whittier woke up one night with a strange feeling. When she checked her phone, she saw his message. Come get me. It's time to come home. If that's not fate, what is?
At about 3 o'clock one morning, I don't know if you want to call it a dream or a feeling, but I got up, and as I started down the hall, the family member that was staying with me kind of met me in the hallway, and she said, it's time to go get Joe. And so I checked Facebook, and there's a message from him.
Really?
Come get me. It's time to come home.
Oh.
Enter the drama. Mr. Reed's ex whispered doubts into his ear, while Ms. Whittier's ex sent her an inappropriate video. One saw it as proof of betrayal, and suddenly, everything spiraled out of control.
With his ex-girlfriend.
Okay.
The conflict started between me and her. Well, then she starts whispering in his ear, oh, well, what if it's not yours? There was some argument. An ex of mine decided to be disgusting, send a very vulgar message to my phone. He found it and thought that maybe there was some continuing relationship there.
then I moved in with my ex.
Ms. Whittier's ex sent a scandalous video, and Mr. Reed assumed the worst. Instead of talking it out, he packed his bags and moved in with his ex. If that sounds messy, just wait. It gets worse.
So you're pregnant now. Your ex sends you a picture, a text.
It was a video.
What was in the video,
And
Mr. Reed?
he was having sex with somebody. Outright, it showed everything.
It did.
Your ex sent a video of him having sex with somebody else.
Yes,
I think
girl.
he was trying to make me jealous and make me come back to him. I don't think it was gonna work.
That was a pretty
didn't,
horrible concept. I mean, I don't know what he was thinking.
During pregnancy, Ms. Whittier faced a life-threatening blood clot. She called Mr. Reed, who rushed to her side. They spent a month in the hospital praying for a healthy baby, but their challenges were far from over.
Until I got sick. I had a blood clot. Put me in the hospital, put me on blood thinners, and they said the blood thinners carry a massive risk, neither one of you making it through. And I called him and I said, you need to come home.
I'd never been so scared in my life.
And I told him that I didn't know if Lucas was gonna make it. I didn't know if I was gonna make it.
Mr. Reed was thrilled to cut the umbilical cord until the hospital refused to list him on the birth certificate. Since Miss Whittier was still married to someone else, they wrote unknown instead.
On the day Lucas was born as well?
Oh, yes.
Oh, you were?
I cut the umbilical cord, Your Honor. I held
umbilical
one
cord
leg,
and turned
folded her
into
up.
a big
My mom had the
marshmallow.
other one, and she literally cried as soon as that
He
child
cried more than
cradled.
I did.
I lost it, and I held him in my arms. That is my world right there. That's my boy. Do anything for him. I need to know. I want it out of my household. Bad element.
Are you on Lucas's birth certificate?
No, ma'am.
He's not.
At 2 weeks old, Lucas had a seizure and was diagnosed with albinism. Mr. Reed panicked. How could his son have it if no one in his family did? Judge Lake called in an expert to clear things up.
When Lucas started getting really sick, when he was 2 weeks old, he had his first grand mal seizure. Sometime during that 3-week hospitalization, Joe's like, how does this happen? The heart issues or the brain issues that Lucas does. And I tried telling him, sometimes it can be so far back in your family you don't know it's there.
A specialist explained that albinism is a recessive condition. Both parents can carry the gene without knowing. The science made sense, but Mr. Reed still had doubts. Only a DNA test could settle this.
Albinism is passed genetically from the parents to the child, but depending on which gene is affected, depends on whether both parents or one parent. And when it meets a copy of itself, meaning both parents having the albinism, the same gene affected, then it becomes dominant. Everybody can carry the albinism trait, but usually you only find out when the baby gets here.
Judge Lake read the results. Boom!
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Reed, you are the father.
At their dad's birthday, the twins hear him say, "You know these aren't my kids." They're completely confused because he's always been their dad. The family acts like nothing happened. But this is just the start of the drama.
Okay, well, it all started about a year ago at his birthday party. And we overheard him speaking to some of our family members saying that y'all know these not my kids. That's what he was saying. We heard him. Now we was listening. Saying to our family members, y'all know they're not my kids.
All these sins and nobody is helping.
Okay.
That's what he was explaining to the rest of our family members.
Nobody said anything, it was just dry, but I'm thinking he's just speaking under the influence of alcohol.
The twins talk about how they grew up thinking he was their real dad. His name is on their birth certificates, and he took care of them. Now, they're wondering why he suddenly doesn't claim them.
We grew up when baby as him being our father. He would come visit us. He would take us out. He's been there. He's on our birth certificate. Yeah. He's our dad.
Why is it that you believe you're not their father when, sounds like to me, you've raised them as your own?
Yes, I did. Knowing from the start that I knew they wasn't mine.
He says he doubted they were his kids since day one, but kept it to himself. He heard their mom call another man for money while looking at him like, shh. The twins can't believe he waited 18 years to say something.
I was coming home one day and she was in the backyard barbecuing, and I noticed this big, beautiful smile, big breasts. I'm living in her mama's basement, and not too soon after that, she's on the phone calling some guy out, telling him to send money. You know, I'm pregnant, and she's looking at me going like this.
His reason for doubting them? They were glowing. He says they were too pale and shiny, but the judge and audience aren't buying it.
You were there for the birth?
I was right there beside her.
So you were in the delivery room?
Yes, with my little mask on and doctor suit on. When I seen them coming out, they was glowing. Yeah. Look how pale they was, and plus the gook on their body. You know, they was shining. I didn't have intentions on signing it, but, you know, I had the spirit come over me, you know, the little devil and the angel.
Oh!
The twins call him out for not providing for them. Their basketball coach even had to buy their school supplies. He argues he did his best, but they're not convinced.
Because you wasn't doing what you were supposed to do.
Give you allowance?
It's not about allowance. What school clothes did you buy?
I'm a single parent. I was never able to buy 2 pair of Nikes, 2 cell phones, 2 this, 2 this. You know,
You didn't buy anything.
Okay, okay. So now I get punished because I'm not money worthy. You know, to keep them happy. Keep them happy.
Their mom passed away when they were just 8, and it was heartbreaking. Their dad didn't take them in right away. Grandma says he only did it after finding out he'd get $900 a month.
When we were 8 years old in front of us, you know what I'm saying? It happened in front of us, but nobody never asked how we were doing. You know, he took us to club, you know, away from our family. You know, everything that we
a year later,
he took us. And before we left, my mom's mom told us he didn't want us till he found out he was going to be getting $900 a month.
He suddenly says a white man is their real dad. His proof? One twin has a skin condition that he heard is common in Caucasians.
When we went to a doctor, she got marks on her back, and the doctor questioned, you know.
She had some marks on her back?
Yeah, some skin. She come out the doctor's office, Daddy, you sure y'all got the wrong babies? I'm not the biological dad, okay.
So the doctor told you?
Basically, I had this skin condition on my back, which is called tinea versicolor.
A cousin says their mom had a white man who sent her money all the time. Apparently, he was just a sugar daddy and not necessarily their father. Now, everyone's questioning what's real.
But he's talking about a white man that actually, I don't know how to word it, but I want to say he was like her John. He didn't care if she was pregnant. He would have sent her money just because that's what they do. That was his purpose of being there. She didn't just call once. He sent money often. Exactly. Before she got pregnant, he was sending money.
So what you're saying is...
Even his own mom calls him out. She says he should have figured this out years ago. The twins are like, even grandma thinks you're wrong, dude.
Right, you say he's not the father. After 18 years, he should have said this from the very beginning when the first month when Sophia died. That's what he should have said when the twins were born. He should have said they weren't his, but he didn't. And I don't want Grant to tell me ever again that he's not the father.
And that's true.
The judge finally drops the bomb.
Antonia and Rodnea Eggleston. Mr. Eggleston, you are their father.
Buckle up, y'all. This case is a mess. The judge introduces Murray Vesey Gerald Donaldson, where Ms. Harris's boyfriend, Mr. Murray, and her ex, Mr. Donaldson, both think they're Anaya's dad. Ms. Harris explains how she ended up with 2 potential baby daddies. And trust me, this is just the beginning.
You have been caught in a love triangle. There are 2 men in court today claiming to have fathered your 18-month-old daughter, Anaya, your current boyfriend, the plaintiff, Mr. Murray, and the defendant, your ex-boyfriend, Mr. Donaldson. They are both in court today to prove paternity.
Ever tell a guy you're pregnant and he just dips? That's what happened to Ms. Harris. She and Mr. Donaldson were together until she broke the news, and he instantly moved on. He showed up for the baby shower and birth, but before that, nowhere to be found. And somehow, it gets worse.
From my understanding, we was dating. Then when I got pregnant, he told me he had feelings for another girl. He told me that he didn't want to be with me. So I was basically alone during my pregnancy. He was there during the baby shower. He came to the hospital with his mom.
And so you boyfriend and girlfriend, and you find out you're pregnant while you're in the relationship with him?
Yes.
Mr. Donaldson didn't believe she was pregnant and thought it was a trap. Reality hit when her belly started growing, but he still never went to any doctor's appointments. Wait till you hear how his mom found out.
At some point, he did accept that the baby was his?
He had to when he seen that my belly was big. He brought me a pregnancy test.
So you brought her a pregnancy test and said, prove it?
Yeah.
And she did?
By that time, it was too late. She was like big. I hadn't seen her in so long. It wasn't even no point in getting a pregnancy test.
Oh, because you tell then she is pregnant.
Yeah.
Too scared to tell his mom, Mr. Donaldson had his dad do it. She found out at the baby shower, but got suspicious when she saw another man around the baby. And that's when the drama really took off.
I didn't even tell her, honestly. I told my father, and my father told her.
At what point do you actually meet Miss Harris? Because you don't even know her at this point.
I had met her one time before, and then the second time was at the baby shower.
And you were there as the grandmother, the paternal grandmother?
Yes.
Mr. Murray found out he might be a dad through a Facebook message from Mr. Donaldson. Now Mr. Donaldson says he doesn't remember sending it, but Mr. Murray sure does. Ms. Harris admits she was with both guys around the same time, and this love triangle is looking real messy.
One day I was on Facebook and I got a message from Jalen. He told me that the baby could possibly be mine.
Telling you that the baby could possibly be yours?
Yeah, I need to get a DNA test.
You sent him that message, Mr. Donaldson?
I don't recall. I'm not gonna say yes, I'm not gonna say no.
And what did you say when you got that?
I said, are you sure?
Ms. Harris insists she and Mr. Murray used protection, but he disagrees. The timelines are all over the place, and now we've got a full-on paternity mystery. And just when you think it can't get any crazier,
You did sleep with Mr. Murray?
Yes.
While you were in the relationship with Mr. Donaldson?
Yes.
Mr. Murray, what do you remember? She was in a relationship with Mr. Donaldson at the time, but you all ended up having a sexual encounter during that time?
Yes.
But you say you used protection. You say you did not. Okay, that's how we get a paternity issue.
Mr. Murray casually drops a bomb he and Ms. Harris had a threesome in December. The judge is shook. The courtroom is shook. Everyone is confused. Ms. Harris says it doesn't matter because the baby was conceived in February. But at this point, who even knows?
We had a situation December 14th.
What's a situation?
A threesome.
Oh, wait, that's December. And you didn't use protection during that? I don't know what y'all out here doing. The threesome's bad enough. Unprotected is just outrageous, insane, unacceptable.
Through all the chaos, Mr. Murray actually stepped up. He took in Ms. Harris and the baby when Anaya was 3 months old. Meanwhile, Mr. Donaldson moved out of state and vanished, but he still has opinions.
Who's in her life as father? Who does she bond with as father?
Mr. Murray. She looks to him like he's her father because he'd been there ever since she was 3 months.
What was it that made you decide to be a part of the baby's life, Mr. Murray?
At that point in time, she was in like a down position, so I just took her in. I take care of both of y'all.
Time for the classic baby picture debate. Even Mr. Donaldson admits the baby looks like Mr. Murray, and Mr. Murray's mom swears Anaya is his. But looks don't count. DNA does.
Ms. Weaver, have you developed a relationship with Anaya?
Oh, yes. That's my grandbaby.
And so you spend a lot of time with her?
Yes, I do. I'm with her almost every other day.
So, Mr. Donaldson, are you hoping she's your daughter?
Yeah, I guess you can say that. I've been missing so much of her life. I mean, I don't know how much I'm supposed to do right now or how I'm supposed to really feel.
The judge reveals
it has been determined by this court. Mr. Murray, you are not the father.
He brought her to my doctor's appointment. That's disrespectful. I asked him, I was like, the day after my son was born, I said, you can come up here and see the baby. He said, oh no, I'm
and what does it matter if I drop him off? I was the only one willing to give him a ride to see his own kid. I have kids. I know what it's like being a single mom, and I would not be with Jesse if he would not take care of responsibilities.
She cheated on me on my birthday.
I did not cheat on you.
She was gone with her ex on my birthday, and then come crawling back after that.
She was gone with Mr. Dallas or somebody else?
Somebody else. There could be more than one person that she's been with.
It's not true, Your Honor.
Ms. Clark says Mr. Newby bailed when she got pregnant because his new girlfriend, Ms. Faulkner, filled his head with doubts. Mr. Newby claims Ms. Clark was seeing someone else, and if he is the dad, wants custody because he thinks she's unfit. And just when it seems messy enough, emotional emotions explode.
Ms. Clark, you claim that you and the defendant, Mr. Newby, dated for only 3 months before you became pregnant with his baby. You say the relationship was moving forward until he left you for a woman you claim is old enough to be his mother. It is your belief that she is the reason Mr. Newby is denying paternity.
Ms. Clark shares her tough past. Her dad's decided to eliminate himself, her mom's death, and addiction struggles during pregnancy. She admits to using drugs while pregnant, but says jail helped her clean up. The crowd applauds her turnaround, but the drama's far from over. Because, of course, it's paternity court, and it only gets messier.
Your Honor, when I met him, I was in drug use, but, we were together for 3 months. When he left me, I felt abandonment because when I was younger, at 13 years old, my dad had hung himself because of drug use. And then 5 years later, my mother had died when I was 18 years old because of cancer. So when he left me when I was 7 months pregnant, I felt abandonment and pain and agony.
Mr. Newby's suspicions take center stage. He thinks Ms. Clark cheated, and others kept feeding his doubts. He was initially excited about the pregnancy, even showed off the sonogram, but the gossip got to him. Then things take a strange turn involving fake baby photos.
When she first went to jail, she would call me, and I would talk to her because I was thinking that the baby might possibly be mine. I've had my doubts from the very beginning. She's constantly lied. She's cheated on me with her ex, 3-4 times?
No, only
like
once.
Grocery store.
You had doubts about being a father or whatever, then why'd you have this picture taken with me with the first ultrasound and being happy about being a father?
Things get weird when Ms. Clark admits sending Mr. Newby a random baby photo from the internet. Yep, a total internet baby to test if he cared. It only made Mr. Newby more suspicious. And that's not the end. Next up, it's all about hospital visits and boundary disputes.
Well, it was a picture of the internet. It sent him the picture, but I was just upset because he had left me to see if he would show any interest of seeing his son because he wasn't doing that.
You showed him a picture of a fake baby as if the baby had born.
Yeah.
Yes.
A newborn baby. I got a picture on my cell phone. While I was at work, I showed my manager and ran home.
Hospital drama kicks off as Ms. Clark accuses Mr. Newby of showing up to appointments with Ms. Faulkner. She calls it disrespectful, while Ms. Faulkner claims she was just giving a ride. Clearly, no one's on the same page, and now they're arguing about who pays for what.
He brought her to my doctor's appointment. That's disrespectful. I asked him, I was like, the day after my son was born, I said, you can come up here and see the baby. He said, oh no, I'm
and what does it matter if I drop him off? I was the only one willing to give him a ride to see his own kid.
That's disrespectful.
I have kids. I know what it's like being a single mom, and I would not be with Jesse if he would not take care of responsibility.
Ms. Clark accuses Mr. Newby of barely helping with the baby. He says he tried, but Ms. Clark always refused anything from Ms. Faulkner. Judge Lake jumps in, urging Mr. Newby to take more responsibility. But you can tell this fight is far from over, especially as the fitness to raise the child gets questioned.
I would call him and ask him if he can watch him or whatever, if he wants to see him. He said, I can't right now.
That is not true.
I want to take care of the baby. I tried taking care of the baby. You would not.
And when we bought stuff for the baby, she refused. She said, because Joanne got it, I don't want it. Because I bought it. She did not want to receive the gifts, and she did not want to want it.
But it's not your responsibility. It's his.
Our money is combined.
Yeah, the money.
I don't care.
Mr. Newby claims Ms. Clark is unfit because she used drugs while pregnant. Judge Lake points out Ms. Clark's efforts to get clean, and even Mr. Newby admits she's improved. It's all leading up to the big moment. The DNA results are about to be revealed.
How are you gonna be 7 months pregnant and then stick a needle into both of your guys' bodies?
But I
like
went
that
to
baby
jail
had to
and
go
I'm
through
clean
that
now,
for no
so-
reason. She didn't even give him a chance.
Ms. Clark admitted that was an absolute irresponsible action, which was inexcusable. I heard her say that. Mr. Newby, you are the father.
Ms. Holshoe storms into court claiming her mom had a fling with the defendant's dad, making her their sister. The Howard sisters are furious and call her a liar. Ms. Holshoe points out her name in the dad's obituary, and the drama levels up with more accusations.
Ms. Holshoe, you claim your mother had an affair with the defendant's father, and today you're in court to prove that he is your biological father. Ms. Howard, you and your sisters say Ms. Holshoe is a delusional troublemaker whose promiscuous mother destroyed your family and ruined your home.
Ms. Holshoe says she has terminal cancer and wants closure on her dad. She heard about her real dad when her drunk stepdad spilled the tea during a fight. Her mom confirmed it, and things got messy from there.
I've recently learned that I have terminal cancer, and I like to have family history, and I also, which I know they don't want to, but I would also like to, because my stepdad was drunk, he was fighting with my mother, and he said, well, who do you think your father is? And so after that, my mother told me, she took me and introduced me to DL. we had a relationship from then on.
The Howard sisters admit their dad once mentioned Ms. Holeshoe might be their sister, but brush it off, claiming her mom slept around. The courtroom erupts into a messy argument, feeling like a Thanksgiving dinner gone bad.
One time when I was 19 years old, my dad, he was in from California. My parents were already divorced. We were in from California. He had us all meet him out at a country bar. We showed up, that and her mother was there. And after about a half hour, we had some drinks and stuff, and my dad
I don't even remember that, and she's lying, and I'm not a that. If anybody's a that, look over there.
Whatever the case may be.
The sisters talk about their dads cheating, but refuse to believe Ms. Holeshoe. They share details from their lives, like detectives solving a case they want to ignore, throwing in some mean comments about her mom.
I was in California living with my father. We had packed up our things and moved out because my father had gone to at the bar where her mother was working and caught her cheating on him. Probably has no idea who any of her children belong to.
It's not my fault you guys don't want to know me. It's not my fault that your dad had sex with my mother, and I'm a product of that.
Ms. Holeshoe says she was invited to a Howard family reunion by Mr. Howard, but the sisters lose it, calling her a liar. She claims they chased her out, which the sisters deny. It's turning into a real soap opera.
Your Honor, Mr. Howard invited me to a Howard family reunion.
Lies.
It was at Guilford Lake.
That is a total lie. How does she know where the reunion is if she was invited or someone didn't tell her?
Your Honor, I have been to every single family reunion.
And I have been
she
to-
has never been.
Is it held at that location?
I'm sure that she has this information because she's got from my other sister.
Kelly Howard says she believes Ms. Holeshoe because their dad literally introduced her as her sister. Everyone is left wondering if their dad ever thought this situation would end well.
Well, we were out one day, and I was about 19, and he said that he wanted me to meet one of his girlfriends. Met several of them before. So we go to Lynn's mother. He introduces me to her as my sister. We just went about our way after that, and I just took it as for what it was and just...
You never questioned it?
No. Our dad never lied to us.
Judge Lake reveals the DNA results.
That the probability of half-siblingship between Diana Howard and Misty Lynn Holeshoe is 98.1%.
Two moms, Miss Taylor and Miss Johnson, team up against Mr. Barber, accusing him of being a deadbeat dad. They want over $7,000 in child support, and they're not holding back. This is just the start of the blames the moms for wanting too much money and causing drama. Miss Taylor claims he only cares about one kid because he's still sneaking around with that mom. It's like a soap opera, and the drama is just heating up.
The only reason you can't support the children you have with Miss Taylor and Miss Johnson is because they ask for too much money. They create too much drama.
Miss Taylor says she gave birth alone, while Mr. Barber flirted on his phone. He blames work, but she's not buying it. This is just leading to more tension.
I had my daughter by myself. My mother's deceased. My family could not get there. I come.
Judge Lake scolds everyone for all the shouting, saying it hurts the kids. She compares their constant fighting to nails on a chalkboard. The moms roll their eyes, and Mr. Barber tries to act calm. Let's see if anyone steps up. Miss Cooper, the third mom, actually defends Mr. Barber, calling the others bitter. She claims he's great with her kid. The room gets awkward, but the financial drama isn't over.
Do you feel like he treats your child differently?
No, I don't. I feel like he loves all his kids the same. I just feel like me and him have came to a common ground to co-parent. Our relationship and what we've been through, none of that matters.
Is he good to you?
Yes, he is. Very well.
Love.
She's a daddy's girl. She only wants to be with him.
Johnson, 3,880. She tells Mr. Barber being a dad is more than just photo ops. It's like a game show where nobody wins.
You know, it is this...
A reality check. Time to grow up and stop letting his kids down. The moms hope he takes it seriously. It ends on a hopeful note, but this drama feels far from over.
When you got these women pregnant, you didn't know who you were. But now...
Wow, this episode kicks off with fireworks. Miss Jackson is in court to face her husband's mistress and prove the mistress's baby isn't her husband's. Oh, and she's ready to end her marriage if she's wrong. Yep, it's going to be one of those cases. Let's go. Discovery of the affair.
Miss Jackson, you say you're here to confront your husband's mistress and to prove her 1-month-old daughter, Kiesha, is not his biological daughter.
Your Honor.
Furthermore, you say you learned today that the child is in fact your husband's. Your marriage is over.
That's right, Your Honor.
Things get real when Miss Jackson tells the story of how she found out her husband was sneaking around. Oh, but Miss Jackson wasn't having it. This was just the warm-up round of the drama.
I got an epiphany. Call it woman's intuition, whatever you want. Well, I went to my husband's job. It was about 9:30 or 10:30 at night. He approached the car. We talked for a few minutes. To end our conversation, I told him, feel as though there's something going on that you hadn't told me, because he had been distant in the days prior to. I had put him out.
The mistress, Miss Lipscomb, tries to explain herself, and her story, it's wild. She says Mr. Jackson told her he wasn't married, even though he was rocking a wedding ring. But instead of smelling the lies, she bought his excuse. It's about to get even messier, so stick around.
When she came to their job, why did she come up there or why didn't she come up there? I've never seen her a day in my life. I knew her voice. I was sitting up, Mr. Jackson, and she calls and the kids calls. That's how I know her voice so high pitched. You can hear her through the phone. My BM, which is my baby mother. BM does not spell wife. Wife is spelled W-I-F.
Oh, she
not
can spell,
BM.
Your Honor. Wow.
Imagine catching your husband's mistress chilling in a hotel room you're paying for. Yeah, that happened. Miss Jackson recalls finding Miss Lipscomb at the hotel and letting her know exactly who the boss is. Spoiler alert, this showdown gets even crazier when Mr. Jackson shows up later.
Maybe a week after that, I was talking to, because my husband went to jail that night, Your Honor.
You sent him to jail
I was
over
angry
bogus.
enough. It was an impulsive decision, and I understand it was not the right decision, Your Honor, because I knew that he had some legal issues going on in another state. The next morning, I go to the room, find Miss Lipscomb laying in the bed crying.
I
like she
told
just
you I
lost
was
her
going back
puppy.
to the room,
But
Carl
died.
talking to me.
Oh, here comes Mr. Jackson, looking like he just walked into a tornado. He admits he never told Miss Lipscomb he was married, saying, she didn't ask. Really? That's the excuse? The judge isn't buying it, and honestly, neither are we. What happens next is gold. Miss Jackson's generosity.
Ms. Lipscomb says she had no idea you had a wife.
No, she didn't, because I never mentioned it to her, Your Honor.
So that part of her statement is true. You never told her you were married.
No, Your Honor.
When Ms. Lipscomb first started talking, I didn't believe for 1 minute that she didn't really know you were married, and confirmed the lie.
Oh, I didn't tell her no lie. I just didn't never mention it to her. She never asked.
You think Miss Jackson would be done, right? Nope. She actually bought baby stuff for the mistress's kid because she felt bad. She thought the drama was over, but surprise, Miss Lipscomb admits the affair never really stopped. This mess is nowhere near cleaned up.
Not only have we had conversations, before I didn't deny the child, I went and bought over $900 and some worth of stuff for her baby. Like I told her, from the conversation, Your Honor, she seemed really distraught. She said that, I don't know how it feels not to know who your child's father is, Your Honor. Whether it's my husband's child or not, out of the kindness of my heart, Your Honor, I understand that we all have shortcomings.
Just when you think it's bad enough, Miss Jackson drops another bomb. Miss Lipscomb might have had another boyfriend during all this. She even brings receipts, aka Facebook posts, to prove it. Let's just say, things are starting to feel more like a soap opera in real life. Hang tight.
I found out when I was in jail, because I guess the beginning of the year, her birthday time, she got sick and went to the hospital. And my wife told me that she said she was pregnant then.
On her Facebook page, Your Honor, she had listed that she was going to the hospital. At that time, Your Honor, she was with another man, and I have evidence.
This piece of evidence shows that she was also dealing with another man.
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, but Mr. Jackson didn't just sign the birth certificate. He was at the hospital. He put this baby on his wife's military benefits too. Like, that's not a big deal. The audacity, off the charts. And you already know, Miss Jackson is not about to let that slide.
He can cut the cord, but he was there.
So he did come for the birth?
Yes.
Mr. Jackson, did you sign the birth certificate?
Yes.
You did?
So if it's
Your
not
Honor.
his child,
Your
why would he sign the
Could I-
birth certificate?
could I
Even more to
intercede?
speak on
So,
her
Mr.
behalf.
Jackson, you've acknowledged paternity.
Yes.
Your Honor, that's why the baby was placed on my benefit.
Her
I also
baby
have-
is what? Anything for my
placed on
child.
my benefit, Your Honor. I also have proof of that.
At this point, the whole courtroom is on edge as these two women go back and forth like it's the finals in a shouting competition. Miss Lipscomb says Miss Jackson is just using the baby as a reason to divorce Mr. Jackson. The judge steps in to say, enough already, but trust me, the next part is gonna leave you shook.
Oh, I just believe she wants to know if this is his child so she can divorce him. Don't use my child as a crutch. If you want to divorce him, divorce him. Don't use my child as a crutch. This woman is delusional. The whole time I was pregnant,
I'm delusional
she
when
swore
I'm
that
married
she
and
was
you're messing
pregnant.
with my husband.
She's been pregnant 4 times since I have had my daughter. Right here,
not
that
telling
she
you
sent
that
me
I'm
in
pregnant
May.
now.
That's
You
the
feel
part
me?
that
I
I
hadn't admitted
I
to
told you every time.
The moment everyone's been waiting for. The DNA test comes back, and boom.
When it comes to 1-month-old Keasia Jackson, Mr. Jackson, you are not the father.
This kicks off like a reality show where nobody's winning. Mr. Burridge says he's been played and wants his name off the birth certificate, plus his money back for childcare. Mrs. Stephanies is fed up, saying Burridge was a great dad until now. Things are already wild, but they're about to get wilder.
Mr. Barrage, you've dragged Ms. Stephens to court because you say you're being played for a fool. And when today's DNA results prove that you are not her daughter, father, you demand that your name be removed from her birth certificate and you be reimbursed for the past 8 months of child care expenses.
Both had side flings. Welcome to the world's messiest love triangle. Burridge admits he had a girlfriend while seeing Ms. Stephanies, who also had another guy. Ms. Stephanie says Burridge knew what he was getting into, but things turned awkward real fast. If you thought this was messy, just wait, there's more.
I also had another woman on the side, and you had another guy on the side.
And I never knew it was a girlfriend. We were together every day since the first day we started hanging out.
No.
But when I sent you the pregnancy test and told you I was pregnant, you said what? I'm gonna be in her life. That's my child. You was there, you signed the birth certificate, cut the umbilical cord. I didn't force you to do anything. You chose to do that willingly because you felt obviously that she was your child.
That's like a soap opera crossed with a bad rom-com. Burridge claims he was trapped into this baby, saying she wanted him away from his girlfriend. Ms. Stephanie says he chose to be there because he liked how she treated her kids. The judge looks like she needs a lie detector test for this one. But hey, it's just getting started.
That's my child. I'm gonna be in his or her life. He's saying that I was just something to do, but that was never my impression. Me and Fernando, we was together all the time. It wasn't no one night stand. We was together consistently every day. I didn't think we were in a relationship, but I thought it was more because I knew that my intentions was to get more than what it was.
And you also said this to me, talking like you gonna try to take me away from my girl. You know what I'm saying? Trying to set me up, trying to trap me.
This is nosy neighbor heaven. Gossip galore. Burridge says neighbors told him Stephanies was seeing half the block, making him question if the baby was his. He even points out the baby's complexion is too different. Ms. Stephanies rolls her eyes like she's had enough of this nonsense. The judge starts piecing things together, but it only gets weirder.
I didn't know how many guys she slept with. Guys coming out the blue in the neighborhood while I stay, just come out the blue. I hit that.
Yeah, he's going off what other people saying. Ask him, does he know anything that's for sure? Not what people are saying.
Do you know for sure? Do you have any proof of this?
I have proof, Your Honor. For one, Your Honor, I don't have light blue, green, hazel eyes, Your Honor. That's for one.
The other guy has light eyes.
Yes, Your Honor.
This part is either touching or hilarious. Burridge shares he didn't have a dad growing up and didn't want the same for Phelan, but now feels foolish. Ms. Stephanie says she thought Burridge was her ride or die, and now feels humiliated. Just when things seem settled, bam, a twist.
I really don't know who my father is, because my name ain't on the birth certificate other than what my mother tell me, but ain't no name on the birth certificate. On my generation, my close in that family, all the way to like 1874. And like far as our genetic code, everybody, we got big eyes, big nose, big lip. That baby got light eyes, little nose.
From you, Mr. Burridge, she's my child. Also, she can have my genes.
Things just got crazier. Ms. Stephanies reveals she's 5 months pregnant with Burridge's baby. Burridge says she trapped him again, while she insists otherwise. The judge looks like she could use a coffee break, and honestly, same. But the drama isn't over yet.
My biological mom wasn't in my life, nor my father. I didn't meet him till I was 12. And ain't no telling if that's my biological father. Why would I put my children? Phelan is my 5th child. I'm pregnant again by Mr. Burridge. And what, to go through the same thing? I'm 5 months pregnant as we speak now.
She trapped me, Your Honor. She trapped me with this one.
Things get awkward fast. Stephanies admits she was with another guy, but says it ended before Phelan was conceived. Burridge isn't buying it, thinking he might not be the only possible dad. The audience practically yells at their TVs, trying to solve this like a crime drama. The tension here could power a whole city.
Have you ever had a sexual relationship with this other guy? So you have. What he's saying is you've had a sexual relationship with this guy. For some reason, you're still around him all the time.
Because
unprotected sex, Your Honor.
Was it unprotected or protected sex?
Unprotected. When I met Mr. Burridge, that relationship, no, not at the same time.
It might be another man, baby. You know they got a name for themselves.
This had everyone rolling their eyes. Burridge says Stephanies put voodoo on him, earning a look from the judge like, really? The judge points out Burridge signed the birth certificate and played dad. Stephanie says she wanted more than just a fling, and now she feels tossed aside. Finally, the moment of truth is near.
Both of you have stood in court today and testified that you feel like fools.
Yes, Your Honor. A special type of food, though, Your Honor.
What kind?
She put some type of voodoo on me or something, Your Honor.
Acting like you don't care nothing about this girl. You are wasting my time. I'm trying to get to this paternity issue, and you trying to act like you don't care nothing about this girl. Hit it and quit it girl that you don't care nothing about.
The DNA results are the grand finale.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Burridge, you are her father.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Judge Lake kicks off Butterfield versus Bracknell Dallas, a messy paternity case about baby Kara. Butterfield claims he's the father, while Bracknell insists it's her fiancé Dallas. You can already feel the chaos brewing.
Mr. Butterfield, you've summoned your ex-girlfriend, Ms. Bracknell, to paternity court to prove that you are the father of her 2-month-old daughter, Kara. You say she's denying you are Kara's dad because she's worried her family will be torn apart when the results prove you are the father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Butterfield says he and Bracknell planned for a baby, and during their breakup, she mentioned a gift. He wonders if that meant Kara feeling left out of her birth. The drama's just getting started.
Me and Mrs. Bracknell had a residence together for almost a year. We did try to have a baby together before. She had told me when we were breaking up, she said, "Thank you for the gift." And I said, "What gift was that?"
And then when you found that out, you thought to yourself, was that the gift?
The baby?
Yeah, you thought
My daughter, yes.
Bracknell says she found out about the pregnancy months after leaving Butterfield. She thinks the baby looks like her other kids with Dallas, but Dallas is ready to present some evidence next.
When did you find out you were pregnant?
Honestly, I didn't find out until I'd say 3 months after I did move out of his house. I was having irregular periods, so I just let it go for a minute. I'm not really a doctor person.
So what you're saying is when this relationship ended, you didn't know you were pregnant?
No.
But once you found out you were pregnant,
How could you not? You're not having periods.
Dallas brings out a calendar, claiming Bracknell moved in with him when Kara was conceived. Butterfield claps back, insisting he was still seeing her. The mystery deepens.
So this calendar outlines the date when the relationship with Mr. Butterfield and Ms. Bracknell. Kara was conceived in mid-September, and she was born in June. And she ended the relationship with Mr. Butterfield at the end of August. There's no way Mr. Butterfield is Kara's biological father.
Yes, ma'am.
Dallas declares Kara his daughter, no matter the DNA results. Butterfield insists he'll step in if she's his. The room is tense, with emotions ready to burst.
Have you ever considered how you would react if, in fact, Kara is not your biological child?
You know what, Your Honor? I'm going to love her the same. She's going to be my little daughter. I'm going to raise her my life. Nothing's going to change. I love her to death, just like I do now. He's actually made our family stronger. That's good. I'm not trying to get her back. I'm just trying to be in my daughter's life. No, you just have a...
Butterfield found out about Kara via a Facebook post, someone else holding her. He accuses Bracknell of hiding it, but she denies it. The back and forth doesn't seem to end.
The only time that I actually ever found out that you guys were even pregnant, that's a Facebook post that they posted on that the baby was even. That's before I even knew.
It says, this little girl is ready.
Yep, that little girl is ready right there. And then I also, the only thing I got was a text message from of a friend saying of her sister holding my daughter.
Butterfield accuses Bracknell of cheating and even leaving him on his birthday. She denies everything. The tension rises as they prepare for the next round of accusations.
She cheated on me on my birthday.
I did not cheat on you.
She was gone with her ex on my birthday and then come crawling back after that.
She was gone with Mr. Dallas or somebody else?
Somebody else. There could be more than one person that she's been with.
It's not true, Your Honor.
When I found out about it, I messaged her mom, let him know I was coming. I blocked, obviously, on their
That you were
Facebook.
coming? Let's explain that text message.
You guys even got together.
Butterfield insists Kara is his, pointing out physical similarities. Bracknell counters, saying Kara resembles Dallas and her other kids. Everyone's waiting for the DNA test to decide.
She looks more like me. Even her own family says it. They look like me. She's got my nose, she's got my lips, she's got my brown hair. All her boys are blonde.
Yep, and they've gone brown the older they get.
Exactly.
So you are convinced, Mr. Butterfield, this is your daughter?
Oh, I'm 100% convinced.
Judge Lake asks if Dallas would stay if Kara isn't his, and he says yes without hesitation. His devotion is clear, but the DNA results will soon shake everyone.
So therefore, if in fact Kara is not your biological child, will you be able to continue this relationship?
Oh, yeah.
You will?
Yep.
Okay. It has been determined by this court, Mr. Butterfield.
What did I tell you?
How long did this mistake
It lasted, I'd say, about 2 years.
2 years? This wasn't no mistake. This was a decision.
Exactly.
So for 2 years, you were sleeping with your wife's sister?
Yes.
Regularly?
Yes. Often, very often.
Without protection?
Without protection.
Lord.
You just standing there, Mr. Wallace, like you don't have a piece of remorse in the world. Now, you don't?
No, ma'am.
You don't have any issues with cheating on your wife?
No, she's not a victim.
She's not?
No.
Oh, fill us in.
Right away, you could tell this case was about to get messy. The Lang family wanted to know if Mr. Lang was baby Janelle's dad, but doubts were in the air. Ms. Brown and her mom came ready to argue, and it was clear this drama was just starting.
Mr. Lang, you and your mother, Ms. Lang, have been waiting in agony to find out if you're indeed the biological father of your little daughter, Janelle. Now, although you have serious doubt, Mr. Lang, you want nothing more than for this child to be yours.
Yes, Your Honor.
Things got spicy when Ms. Lang said Ms. Brown hooked up with Mr. Dixon, Mr. Lang's old friend. Ms. Brown said that was a lie, and Dixon was just trying to cause trouble. Everyone was throwing shade, and it was only getting wilder.
Because I found out that Miss Brown slept with my son's best friend, from the sandbox best friend. I don't think she know whether it's my son's or Mr. Dixon's. I
I've never slept with Mr. Dixon. Mr. Dixon and Mr. Lang have been not friends for a while. They've been going at it, trying to fight each other.
So you're saying her assertion isn't true?
No, it's not true.
All right.
Their relationship sounded like a soap opera. Ms. Brown said Mr. Lang cheated constantly, but he was super excited when she got pregnant. Then, Mr. Dixon dropped hints that the baby might be his, making everything even messier.
I was at the doctor. I came home and I gave him the paper saying I was pregnant. He was excited. He stayed with me through the whole entire pregnancy, birth, and delivery.
Did you have any doubts at that time?
Not at that time, no, I didn't.
And what made you start to have doubt?
When Mr. Dixon got in the picture, and he had told me to stop messing with her because the baby she's pregnant with could possibly be his.
Oh!
Mr. Lang was all in at the birth, cutting the cord and claiming the baby looked like him. That is, until he started questioning the baby's hairline. Ms. Lang chimed in with doubts, and the awkwardness was off the charts.
He thought it was his. Can I interject right there? He thought it was his. She looked like him to me too, right there. I said, oh, look at her, look at your baby, woo, 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 and all that. And then he pulled the hat off. He said, Mama, what's up with this hairline?
That is his daddy hairline. Stop playing.
Girl, please. That's what I said too. But his daddy is 51 years old.
The drama spilled onto Facebook, where everyone aired their dirty laundry. Ms. Brown and Ms. Lang went at it in the comments, dragging each other nonstop. This was peak chaos, but the big bombshell was still coming.
The whole 2 years we was in a relationship, every time we'd be on Facebook arguing anything, his mom would get on Facebook on her post and start getting into it every single time.
No, honey, I didn't get no child accident. And yes, I did quit my job to raise my grandbaby. But that was then.
Why?
I have 2 jobs now.
Mr. Lang, you are not her father.
Are you serious?
Man, we're not gonna have that kind of language in this court.
Oh boy, this starts like a crazy soap opera you didn't know you needed. Judge Lake introduces the case of Griffin versus Richmond. So, Mr. Griffin, a married dude, had a 2-year fling with his wife's stepsister, Mrs. Richmond. Now they're in court fighting over who the dad is. Trust me, you're gonna be shaking your head the whole time.
Mr. Griffin, you were a married man who had a 2-year affair with your wife's stepsister, the defendant. You say that relationship produced a daughter, but Ms. Richmond claims you are not her daughter's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, this is wild, like really wild. Mrs. Richmond admits she had the affair because she was young and careless, and Mr. Griffin confirms it went on for 2 years without protection. Judge Lake wastes no time calling them out for their decisions, especially since it's all in the family. But wait, things get even messier, like family reunion is ruined messy.
How long did this mistake
It lasted, I'd say, about 2 years.
2 years? This wasn't no mistake, this was a decision.
Exactly.
So for 2 years, you were sleeping with your wife's sister?
Yes.
Regularly?
Yes.
Often, very often.
Without protection?
Without protection.
Lord.
This is where it gets extra awkward, y'all. Mrs. Richmond says she and Mr. Griffin got close because he'd give her rides home after visiting her stepsister. Mr. Griffin casually mentions he'd been married for a decade at the time. No biggie, right? But just wait, because their bonding time comes with a whole lot of drama to unpack.
Because he was taking me home from when I used to go over to their house to visit my stepsister and stuff.
How long had you been married at the time, Mr. Griffin?
I'm still about 10 years.
So you all had known each other for an extended amount of time.
All in the family, Your Honor. I was in love, so I think that's why I chose to tell him first before anyone else that he was the father.
Oh, you're gonna love this part. It's peak awkwardness. Mrs. Richmond says she told Mr. Griffin she was pregnant, and he was like, yeah, sounds about right. But then, nothing. No follow-up, no real conversation. Turns out, that was just the warm-up for the chaos coming next.
As I remember, he said yes right off. He came over to my house, and he picked her up, and he went up on the stairs, and he, put her up to the light, and he said, yeah, she could be mine. And that was the last we ever discussed her really seriously, of him seeing her actually, of me and him talking about her, being I never seen her. Yeah, I've never.
That's because she left.
Hold on.
This is where you realize keeping track of everyone is like solving a puzzle with missing pieces. Mrs. Richmond admits she was with 2 other guys around the same time, but still only told Mr. Griffin about the pregnancy. Mr. Griffin stays confident he's the dad, but let's be real, this story is already bananas. And don't worry, it gets even more bonkers from here.
I did tell him that I was pregnant, but also I did tell him he was the father, but at the time he also knew I was, with other people also, and he was a married man, so, and I'm sure he was with other people too, so I was with 2 other guys, no.
Why did you only choose to tell Mr. Griffin?
Mr. Griffin was the one I was with mostly all the time, mostly.
Right.
Now, here's where it feels like a detective show. Mr. Griffin's other daughter, Lakesha, found Taikia's name on child support papers while snooping around his room. She decided to hit up MySpace, remember that ancient site, and send Taikia a message saying, hey, I think we're sisters. Of course, Taikia thought this was crazy, but trust, it only gets weirder.
Well, I was in my dad's room one day because my sisters was taking up the other mirrors. So I was in there doing my hair and I see some mail from Jackson County Child Support. And I began to look at it and I seen her name. Taikia's name. After that, I decided to look her up on MySpace so I could see what she looked.
Who told you about her?
My mother.
Plot twist alert. Mrs. Richmond says a DNA test from years ago proved Mr. Griffin wasn't the dad. But then Mr. Griffin is like, hold up, I got papers saying I am the dad. So who's lying here? Honestly, this whole thing is turning into one big he said, she said situation, and it's about to explode.
When I moved to Wisconsin with her, when she was almost 2, we took a paternity test at that time, okay? I went on and did the child support, and she told me that, well, the test proves that he's not the father, so do you have another name to give me?
You were told he was not the father.
Yeah.
Do you remember submitting to this DNA testing years ago?
I do, and from my knowledge, that I got the paper saying I was.
And then, bam, the mood shifts hard. Taikia shares how losing her husband made her want to find out who her real dad is. She talks about the heartbreak of him dying on the same day as her possible sister's wedding. Seriously, this family's timing is the worst. If you thought this was just a messy drama, get ready for some real tears.
One of the other sisters, Griffin sisters, her wedding was May 21st, 2011. She invited me and my husband believed I looked like some of the other sisters. He was like, yeah, we should go. I don't think they're your family, so why would you go all the way to Michigan to a wedding?
You'd think Mr. Griffin would step up here, but nope, he's full of regret and late apologies. He says sorry for not being there for Taikia, but Judge Lake doesn't let him off easy, calling him out for his role in the mess. This is the part where you start yelling at your screen. And then, just when you think it can't get crazier, the results are finally in.
Well, I'm sorry for your husband, and I wish that I had been there for you. I'm sorry for not being there for you.
I do believe you have a level of regret. You come from a generation where I'm sure there was a level of well enough alone. Some people believe that. We hear those stories in this courtroom.
Brace yourself, because this reveal is something else.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Griffin, you are not her father. 32 years of thinking you were this woman's father.
The episode begins with everyone settling in the courtroom. Mr. Kidd insists he's the dad, but Ms. Rawlings says, nope, not you. She claims he knew he couldn't have kids, so why act surprised?
Mr. Kidd, you say Ms. Rawlings is a manipulative user who convinced you that you were the father of her son, Nathaniel, then changed her mind when someone better came along. You and your mother say Ms. Rawlings' mind games have wreaked emotional havoc on your family, and you are 100% positive are her son. Father.
Mr. Kidd believes the child is his because Ms. Rawlings told him so and even wrote him letters. He says, she said it's mine, so it's mine. But clearly, the court session shows it's not that simple.
Well, Your Honor, when this first started off, she came to me and told me that he was mine. She was sending me letters when I was gone.
And so you were away when she found out she was pregnant?
I went away a month after she found out she was pregnant.
And did you tell him it was his child, Ms. Rawlings?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Rawlings explains she was seeing another guy at the same time. She denies ever telling Mr. Kidd he was the father, saying he just assumed. This love triangle is messy and complicated.
How it happened was we met through a mutual friend. I didn't know anything about Mr. Kidd. Starting off, my mutual friend ended up leaving, and the situation that I was in, everything progressed and everything started off. Somehow another female came into the picture. I went off and did my own thing and was dealing with him and another gentleman also.
Ms. Rawlings says Mr. Kidd's rare blood issue makes it hard for him to have kids and might harm her baby. Ms. Jenkins, Mr. Kidd's mom, says it's not as dramatic as it sounds, but still raises questions. Cue the drama and confusion.
When I found out I was pregnant, Mr. Kidd told me himself that he has some type of rare form blood disease that me and his child would die if I was pregnant by him.
Your Honor, it's not a rare blood disease. I am ARH negative and he is ARH negative. If she's RH positive and doesn't get the necessity shot during the pregnancy, it could prevent her from having future children or that child could pass away.
Ms. Jenkins discovers Nathaniel through a photo and says, this baby looks like my son's twin. After meeting him, she's convinced he's her grandson. Her determination drives the case forward.
I got a phone call from my daughter and she said, Mom, you need to look at this picture. Sent me a picture of the baby. I was like, who got my son's baby pictures? She said, that's not your son. I said, yes, that is. I gave birth to him. I know who he is. So I contacted his friend who gave me Miss Rawlings' number. I called her and asked, we talked for a couple weeks and I asked if I could see the baby and she said yes.
Ms. Rawlings lets Ms. Jenkins visit Nathaniel, saying it's good for him to have family memories. Despite her doubts about paternity, it's a heartfelt moment with lingering tension.
Me being me as a mother, and I wasn't able to grow up with my father. If Mr. Kid can't see the moments that he's missing, at least his mom will be able to have them, and his family has some stories to tell.
It's truly a beautiful sentiment, but as you stand here at the defendant podium, you say you know Mr. Kidd is not your child's biological father.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Rawlings mentions another man who could be the dad. He even visited the hospital, thinking the baby resembled him. The plot thickens as the courtroom awaits clarity.
The other potential father, did he ever acknowledge that he could be the father?
Yes, he did, because he was the one that actually told me to get a test to see if I was pregnant. And me and him were sick together, looking at pictures, and he questioned it again. He was like, are you sure the other guy is your child's father? Because he looks like me. And going through pictures, Dad, even his brothers said, yeah.
Ms. Jenkins reveals she cared for Nathaniel when Ms. Rawlings struggled, even using a handwritten custody note. It was the best solution at the time, adding another twist to the case.
She was going through a situation and got kicked out of where she lived because her choice of men are not just the greatest, I guess, in the world. He wasn't safe. She wasn't safe. She was trying to get her life together. She gave me the baby a period of time with a handwritten...
How long?
I had him for a month and a couple days. And I got a handwritten letter of custody.
Dr. Gator explains Mr. Kidd's condition doesn't completely rule out fatherhood. While interesting, it leaves the courtroom still eager for definitive answers.
So I think there's two separate issues here. There was an issue about RH blood incompatibility.
Yes.
And that has to do with a mother and a baby. And if there's different blood types between the father of the baby, positive and negative, from mumps to repeated urinary tract infections to STIs like gonorrhea and chlamydia, which then causes scarring and makes it difficult for you to emit sperm.
The results reveal
it has been determined by this court. Mr. Kidd, you are the father.
Buckle up, because this is where the madness begins. Looper vs. Downs kicks off with Miss Looper, accusing Mr. Downs of denying her twins, Brayley and Bishop. She thought he was a sweet family guy, but the drama quickly proves otherwise.
Ms. Looper, you say you thought the defendant was a respectful, church-going family man who turned out to be anything but. You claim that after giving birth to your twins, Brayley and Bishop, Mr. Downs denied fathering your babies.
Mr. Downs denies paternity, claiming suspicious texts on Miss Looper's phone point to other possibilities. Their rocky relationship, full of secrets, spirals into chaos. You won't believe how fast things unravel.
I was at her house. Just something told me to pick up the phone, and I did it. And I'm looking through the phone. I'm like, okay. And I bring it to her, and I'm seeing messages from other dudes and all this other stuff. So I'm like, what is this? Messages are just trying to, hook up with her and stuff like that. So
Is she accepting the advance?
Yeah.
Oh, you are?
Yes, Your Honor. I was in the process of closing those doors.
Wedding plans within 2 months, but then Mr. Downs finds sketchy texts from other guys on her phone. This is where the real drama kicks in.
Yeah, we moved really fast. We had a wedding date in 2 months. Relationship changed tremendously though after he went through my phone. Our vibe was different. We weren't hanging out as much. When I found out I was pregnant, I called him and he didn't even answer. I sent him a text message. He was really nonchalant about it, but rub my feet, rub my belly. He would get up at 2 a.m., go get me ice and hot Cheetos. He took me to every ultrasound appointment if he didn't have work.
The twins arrive, and Mr. Downs questions Brayley's paternity right in the hospital, citing her lighter complexion. Awkward doesn't even begin to cover it.
As soon as they brought Brayley into the room, the first thing he said was, "Do you guys do DNA tests here? I've never had a kid come out that light." That's the first thing he said when he seen her. But he did go see my son.
I know it don't really matter about the complexion and stuff, but like I said, all my kids favor me just extremely. I looked at Bishop. I seen more Bishop in me than Brayley. At the same time, like I said, I know there's another man been involved.
A Snapchat photo leads another man to claim Brayley might be his daughter, raising more questions. The saga of who's the daddy only gets wilder.
After I had the baby, I posted Brayley on Snapchat, and the other guy who the messages he's seen wrote me and sent me a picture of his daughter and told me that, I believe that that's my daughter.
Wow, so you posted a picture of Brayley, and the other man you were having sex with wrote to you and said, "I think this is my daughter."
Correct.
Both parents entertain the idea that the fraternal twins might have different fathers. Cue the messiest revelations yet.
Mr. Downs, do you feel like you could be the father of one twin twin and someone else be the father of the other?
Yes, ma'am. I just like with Bishop, I felt the bigger bond with my son. Like every time I see him when we video chat, like his face just lights up when I'm talking to him. Like, you know what I'm saying? He knows my face, he knows who I am. My son, man, when I see him, and it's like we connect.
Miss Looper moves to California with the twins, leaving Mr. Downs in the dust. He comes home to an empty house and panics, only to discover she's gone without explanation.
Yeah, I left to California.
Why did you leave for California?
For several reasons. I was unhappy with our relationship at this point, and we were gonna have to move back with his mom. And they're gonna be uncomfortable with me. They're like, I'll take it from my mom, not yours. I just felt more comfortable going home. I was unhappy in the relationship. It wasn't working.
So you went back home.
Correct.
I feel like that she knew more than what she was telling me from the jump.
Mr. Downs' frantic calls finally reach her, and her casual response leaves him and everyone else stunned. But the biggest shocker is still ahead.
So I get to my house and there's nobody there. So I'm thinking somebody done came in my house. Anybody could have did something to my kids, my girl. So I'm like, man, what's going on? So I'm calling and I'm blowing his phone up and I don't get no response. So then I'm really starting to get worried. As soon as I call, she picks up the first ring. I'm like, what are you doing? Where are you at? Oh, I'm with a friend. I was like, no, you're not with no friend. You're gonna tell me where you at with my kids.
The DNA results reveal.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Downs, you are not the father.
Oh boy, here we go. Miss Reed kicks things off by suing Miss Austin for $5,000 because she thinks Miss Austin broke up her marriage. Oh, and she wants a DNA test to prove her husband didn't father Miss Austin's baby. Yep, it's already a mess.
Ms. Reed, you are demanding that Ms. Austin have a paternity test administered on her child, whom she claims was fathered by your estranged husband. Additionally, you are suing his mistress, Miss Austin, in the amount of $5,000 for alienation of affections.
Miss Austin claps back, saying she doesn't owe Miss Reed anything because she wasn't the one married, and maybe Miss Reed needs to worry about herself. The courtroom vibe is already spicy, and you can just feel the tension in the air.
Ms. Austin, you say you are here today to defend your reputation and prove that Mr. Wallace is the father of your child. You argue that you do not owe Ms. Reed anything, and she needs to move on with her life, pay her own bills.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
Miss Reed spills all the tea about how she found out about her husband's affair. Spoiler alert, it involved a random phone call, a shocked wife, and a girlfriend who apparently didn't know about the wife. And that's just the warm-up.
And I found out about Mrs. Austin. One day I came in from the hospital from having my second child, and Ranielle's phone rang, and I just so happened to answer the phone. Mrs. Austin, she said, I'm Ranielle's girlfriend. I said, Ranielle's girlfriend, did you know that Ranielle was engaged to me, just had a baby? She said, no. I packed my things and I left with my 2 kids at the time, and I went and stayed at my aunt's house.
If you thought things couldn't get wilder, Miss Austin jumps in to say she had no clue Mr. Wallace was married when they met. Turns out Facebook exposed him because she saw wedding pics Miss Reed posted. Classic.
When I met Ranielle, they was not married. He nor told me that they was engaged neither. I found out on Facebook that Ranielle and Mrs. Reed was married when she posted a picture up there of their marriage life. That's when I found out. And yes, I did confront Ranielle about the marriage, but at the same token, Ranielle would never came to me if Dominique was Miss Reed was taking care of home, right?
Miss Austin blames Miss Reed, saying if she had been a better wife, Mr. Wallace wouldn't have been looking for attention elsewhere. Miss Reed is not having it and calls her out for being a willing side chick. It's a lot, and we're just getting started.
Your Honor, that means that she didn't mind playing the role as his little mistress, because any woman wouldn't sit there and be in a relationship with a man that has a woman. Like, as me as myself, I have respect, and I don't want to be no one's mistress.
Well, he led me on. When they was married, Ranielle was calling, he was texting me, telling me how he wants to get away from Dominique. The reason why he said he was with her is because of her money. That's what he said.
Enter Mr. Wallace, the man at the center of all this chaos. He struts in, admits to cheating, and says he has 3 kids with Miss Reed. Oh, and he doesn't look one bit sorry, like not even a little.
You married to Ms. Reed.
Yes.
But you were sleeping with Ms. Austin. You just standing there, Mr. Wallace, like you don't have a piece of remorse in the world. Now, you don't?
No, ma'am.
You don't have any issues with cheating on your wife?
No, she's not a victim.
She's not?
No.
Oh, fill us in.
Miss Reed roasts him for constantly coming back to her while spending Miss Austin's money on their family. Mr. Wallace just stands there like he's in a casual conversation, not the middle of a disaster. This guy has nerves of steel, or maybe no shame at all.
If you was precious to be in a relationship with me, why did you constantly come home to me? Why did you constantly, every time I got work, was there, and you could have left and went home to your mother, your sister, or whoever the case may be? Your Honor,
she says you kept coming back, and
she said that you were spending Miss Austin's money that she was sending to you on her.
Correct. And
Yes. Everybody's laughing.
Miss Austin insists her baby is Mr. Wallace's because they didn't use protection, unlike her other guy. Yes, you read that right. There's another guy. This love triangle is turning into a love octagon.
Don't you say no, boy, and she look just like you. Everything you want, she got on that, everything.
she looked like the other guy who is currently her boyfriend.
I had sex with Raniel first, and I used unprotected sex with Raniel, and I used protected sex with the other boy. But
Your Honor, she's lying. The boy told me that he had unprotected sex with Demiriu several times because he do not like to use protection.
Miss Reed chimes in to talk about how her kids now get less attention and support from their dad since Miss Austin came into the picture. If things weren't messy enough, Miss Austin throws more shade, and now everyone's yelling. Fun times, right?
the whole situation is just wrong. I was there for Raniel for whatever, and he still went out and cheated on me with Mrs. Austin, and it was wrong.
You feel like it was her fault that he went out?
I feel like it was his fault too because, like, she didn't know what was going on, like she said. Raniel was sitting up lying to her, so I can't really blame her. But then again, I can because she knew all about me and still slept with my husband. She still was in a relationship with my husband.
Wait for it, a third woman enters the chat. Miss Roberts claims she has a 5-month-old baby with Mr. Wallace, and he's denying paternity. You can almost hear the audience gasp.
I also have a 5-month-old child by Mr. Wallace that he claims he's not the father of.
You also have a 5-month-old child that you say was fathered by Mr. Wallace, but he's denying that child as well.
Yes.
Hold on 1 second. Just 1 second.
Judge Lake shuts down Miss Reed's alienation of affection claim, saying Mr. Wallace was the one chasing after these women. But let's be real, this third baby drama has everyone questioning just how messy this guy's life really is.
Now, in order for you to sue for alienation of affection, you have to prove that this woman, young woman, planned to destroy your marriage. I don't see that. It was his free will that started this affair. Are we clear?
Yes, Your Honor.
So for this reason, my judgment is for the defendant.
The moment of truth, Mr. Wallace is the father of Miss Austin's baby. Miss Austin celebrates like she just won the lottery, while Miss Reed is not impressed. Meanwhile, Mr. Wallace looks like he just remembered he left the stove on.
In the case of Reed versus Austin, when it comes to baby Demiriel, Mr. Wallace, you are her father.
Told you, dummy. She looks just like you, dummy.
Miss Roberts gets her turn, saying Mr. Wallace didn't tell her he was married. She also claims he's dodging responsibility for her baby. Mr. Wallace? He says the kid doesn't look like him, which of course makes everyone roll their eyes.
Ms. Roberts, you are here requesting a paternity test to prove to the defendant, Mr. Wallace, that he is the father of your 5-month-old son, Danielle. You have asked the court to administer a lie detector test to prove he's still trying to be with you.
Miss Roberts and Miss Reed team up for a moment to roast Mr. Wallace's weak excuses. The courtroom is basically a reality show now, with everyone yelling and interrupting each other. It's like a soap opera, but somehow even more chaotic.
Miss Austin told me that he was married. One day, she's supposed to have snuck into his phone and sent us texting or whatever, so she called me. Did he tell you he had a girlfriend that we was in a relationship?
Mr. Wallace, ask for Ms. Roberts. When you met her, did you tell her you were married?
I forgot.
Just when you think Mr. Wallace might say something smart, he doubles down and says he'd cheat on Miss Reed again. Yep, he really said that. The audacity is off the charts.
You don't have to go through, Judge.
Mr. Wallace, you know what? This is a sad state of affairs to see 3 beautiful young women act a fool over you.
This kicks off with a bang, setting the stage for pure chaos. Mr. Mitchell wants 2 DNA tests to confirm if he's the dad of his estranged wife's kids. Ms. Dalton admits to cheating, but hopes to patch things up. Things are heating up fast.
Mr. Mitchell, you are petitioning the court for 2 DNA tests to determine if you are the father of your estranged wife's 2 children, 2-year-old Deshaun Jr. and 1-year-old Bishop.
Mr. Mitchell shares how Ms. Dalton ditched him and their kids, leaving him to fend for himself. She handed him food stamps, wished him luck, and disappeared. Now he's not just upset, but questioning the kid's paternity. Ms. Dalton's version, even messier.
Over the past few months, Ms. Dalton put me and my kids through a lot, Your Honor.
You know, she done left, and in between the last 7, 8, 9 months, you know, she done made us struggle. She done walked out on us, Your Honor. What I'm trying to do right now, Your Honor, because I get very emotional when it comes in talking to my kids, because
that's understandable.
How she abandoned us, Your Honor.
Ms. Dalton claims Mr. Mitchell's exaggerating and explains she left due to personal struggles. Yes, she cheated, but their relationship was already rocky. She insists she didn't abandon the family maliciously. Both sides are throwing blame, and the tension only builds.
In the beginning, me and Deshaun, like, we weren't really like serious when we had our first son. I did cheat on him in the beginning.
Your Honor, what
he
it
went
is?
away for some time, and like I said, from the beginning, I've been doing everything by myself. He wasn't working. Pregnant with my first son, I worked 2 jobs to make sure that the household was taken care of. He didn't work. He gambled. You know, he didn't do anything.
Mr. Mitchell describes how he braved tough times to care for the kids, while Ms. Dalton was allegedly living her best life. She fires back, saying she worked 2 jobs to support them. The finger-pointing intensifies, and infidelity enters the conversation.
Where I was forced to leave my home.
Nobody forced her to leave. When she left me, Your Honor, and left the kids and walked out, Your Honor, I was on our city bus in the freezing cold with my 2 kids.
I did the
going
same.
to all my kids' their appointments they had to go to. I was making sure that me and my kids had what we needed, Your Honor, because I didn't have anything.
But it's also what a parent does.
Yes, Your Honor. You're absolutely right.
Get it done.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Mitchell reveals a man called claiming he was with Ms. Dalton and might be the father of her baby. She denies it, but trust is long gone. Past affairs and secret calls emerge, and things get wilder when their age gap becomes a talking point.
When there was an issue,
yes, I
you
did
admit you left.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes,
I
you
said
did.
I was living with my sister.
So
Your Honor.
during the time, did you sleep with another man?
In the beginning, yes. But since we've been married, no.
She was just with another man, Your Honor, so we're still married. I don't
And we
know.
were separating, and we both agreed on the separation.
Yeah,
we weren't together. We were going to move on with our lives.
I
Divorce.
never talked to her.
The judge highlights their age gap. He's 37, she's 21, and they married when she was 19. Both admit their marriage has been rough, with plenty of growing pains. They keep debating who's at fault as the paternity results loom.
While I empathize, would feel like to raise 2 beautiful young boys, but you constantly have question as to whether or not they are your biological children, I'm sure that is difficult. You must have understood as a 35-year-old man, when you marry a 19-year-old, you're gonna have some growing pains in the marriage because she's still growing up.
Yes.
The moment of truth.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Mitchell, you are Bishop's father. Mr. Webb, you are not her father.
Yeah, you're crazy. You need to go to a mental hospital.
It's not true because me and DeAndre, we were in a relationship. We were high school sweethearts. You know, I was all about him and everything. Everything was good until he started cheating.
So this was your high school sweetheart?
Yes, I lost my virginity to him.
This case is already wild. Ms. Hawthorne calls Mr. Brown a smooth-talking deadbeat, while he's over here saying she's a desperate liar. The courtroom is buzzing with what is even happening vibes. Buckle up, it's going to get messier.
Ms. Hawthorne, you are here today because you say your high school sweetheart, Mr. Brown, is a smooth-talking deadbeat who got you pregnant 3 years ago and is now denying your baby.
It started sweet, but turned into a train wreck. Ms. Hawthorne says Mr. Brown was her high school sweetheart and first love, but then he started cheating. Just when you think it's predictable, there's a sharp left turn.
This baby isn't mine. I desperately believe that she's emotionally attached to me and she desperately wants to have a family with me.
It's not true because me and DeAndre, we were in a relationship. We were high school sweethearts. You know, I was all about him and everything. Everything was good until he started cheating. So I lost my virginity to him.
This drama kicked off with an online high school romance. They chatted for a year before meeting, and now their stories don't even match. The awkwardness is already palpable, and it's only getting started.
We were dating online. That's how we found out about each other.
Oh, so you all met online?
Online after we started seeing each other because we were young, we didn't have transportation.
So you met online, you lived in 2 different places.
Yeah.
And you all were going back and forth.
Yeah.
Until you figured out how to meet up.
Yes.
How long after you met online did you meet up?
A year.
Straight out of a teen drama, Mr. Brown went to break up with her, but ended up in the back seat instead. He's all, it just happened, while Ms. Hawthorne thought it was a reunion. The courtroom's collective what says it all.
We was in the car and we ended up getting into a heated moment and both of us started kissing and ended up having sex in the back seat.
We were talking about getting back together, Your Honor.
You told her this is the last time you're gonna see each other. And you said he was trying to figure out how to fix the relationship.
Yes, that's
so
what we
you have
talked
sex
about.
in the back of this car.
Yes.
Ms. Hawthorne waited a day to tell Mr. Brown about Chase's birth, claiming they weren't on good terms. Judge Lake is like, Dad still deserves to know. Cue the frustration for everyone watching.
When Chase was
Yes.
born, do you notify Mr. Brown?
No. We were not on good speaking terms at the moment.
But this is the father of your child.
Yes.
So speaking terms or not, didn't he deserve to know that the child was about to come into the world?
I notified DeAndre September 24th, so a day right after.
Your Honor, how if the baby is
That don't
born?
make no kind of sense.
Ms. Hawthorne's mom comes in strong, accusing Mr. Brown of neglect. She lists all the ways she supported Chase, while Mr. Brown's been absent. Just when it seems she's said it all, the plot thickens.
Definitely, I believe that he has said it on texts that he has sent, all kinds of proof. He looked just like him. I mean, how can you deny that beautiful baby? I mean, he's gorgeous. To say, no, this is not my child, is ridiculous. And he's never been there for him. I'm one person can say he's never been there because I do everything for him. I buy his food. I get his milk. I am the father.
The texts are the gotcha moment. Mr. Brown's messages about helping and calling Chase my son make him look guilty. He's backpedaling hard, but things are about to escalate.
You write to him and say, I'm afraid that Chase at this point will not have the Christmas he deserves. Make things right with your son because he didn't ask to be born. He will have a good Christmas, no worries. I'll just start checking periodically on what he needs and deliver it to him. I'm trying my best here. You think I'm happy about not being able to get him gifts on Christmas? I'm not. It hurts me.
The big reveal.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Brown, you are not the father.
This starts wild, and you're not ready. Judge Lake introduces Hannon vs. Dorsey. Phelan Hannon's figuring out if David Dorsey is her dad after her mom dropped this bombshell before she passed. This is messy, and trust me, it gets messier.
Miss Hannon, you grew up believing one man was your father until the age of 13 when he said, I am not your daddy.
Yes, ma'am.
Your mother then told you on her deathbed that another man, the defendant David Dorsey, is your biological father.
If you thought your life was dramatic, think again. At 13, Phelan's dad said, "Not my problem, kid," when she asked him to a daddy-daughter dance. Processing that as a teen? Rough. And it's about to get even crazier.
Well, I believe David Dorsey is my biological father, but I grew up with my grandparents and my mom. Like you said, I was known for a man named Kimball to be my dad. I called him one day for the daddy-daughter dance. Instead of his response being, yes, I'll be there, it was, your mother's still lying to you, not your dad, you need to go find your real dad.
How cruel.
This feels like a movie, but it's real life. On her deathbed, Phelan's mom confessed David Dorsey was her real dad. She admitted she picked the wrong guy. Imagine hearing that before your mom's final moments. David's reaction? Just wait.
My mom, we would have our heart-to-hearts, when she got sick, because she was sick my whole entire life. She would talk about David. On her deathbed, she told me, I thought I picked the right one for you, but David's your father.
So just before your mother passed, she says to you, I thought I picked the right one for you, but David Dorsey is really your biological father.
Yes, ma'am.
Strangers kept mistaking Phelan for Melanie Dorsey, David's daughter. People even called her by that name. Despite the hints, she'd never met David or Melanie until now. Their first meeting, not what you'd expect.
After my mom's passing, I moved away. My grandmother got sick, so I came back. I was actually at work, walking down the hall. She was calling me Melanie, walking down the hall. Melanie, you hear me talking to you? She got all the way close, and I'm like, ma'am, that's not my name. Melanie, but you're talking about Melanie Dorsey, right? And she's like, yeah. I said, I heard it in high school. I look just like a girl. I need to meet her. It's my sister. We need to find out. And the friend that said it, he approached my mom.
David walks in and says, don't know you or your mom. The audience is shook. The judge isn't buying it, and Phelan's got receipts. It's like a soap opera, and she's just getting started.
She's been told that you are her biological father.
Yes, ma'am.
You walk through the doors, you walk right past her, no hug. You didn't even really look at her, acknowledge her.
I acknowledged her. I looked at her.
You don't believe you're her biological father?
Not really, because I don't remember her mother at all.
You don't know her mother?
No.
David's denial is relentless, but Phelan's godmother spills all the tea. She saw David with Phelan's mom back in the day. David denies everything, but the tension is real. Then his daughter enters the scene.
Me and Phelan's mother, Veronica, we work together. Mr. Dorsey, I have seen him come to the job to bring her mom, her baby daddy being David. He still looks the same, but he had just got a little heavier.
Your Honor.
You don't remember any of this?
Your Honor, I've never had sex with this woman.
You
worked at the fast food restaurant, though.
Yes, ma'am.
Melody, David's daughter, comes in strong, claiming Phelan as her sister. She's heard the rumors, sees the resemblance, and calls out her dad. It's funny, emotional, and awkward all at once.
You know we are here discussing the paternity as it relates to Ms. Hannon.
Yes, I'm here to claim my sister. That's my sister. I don't mean to disrespect my dad, but my dad was a Rolling Stone. He was the man, and like he was very known on the North Side for being David Watkins, you know, the slayer of women. So
Phelan's trying to stay strong, but she just wants closure. David's still in denial, but feels bad for her. The judge is ready for the DNA results, and you'll need to brace yourself for the twist.
Truly, Mr. Dorsey, I can't get much testimony out of you because you honestly don't remember.
No, I don't.
And Ms. Hannon have formed as sisters, you believing and accepting and loving her as a sister.
I don't know about her mother's infidelity. Only thing I know is that Fallon is my sister.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Dorsey, you are not the father.
The case of Webb versus. Cole kicks off with Judge Lake, trying to figure out if Mr. Webb is the dad of Ms. Cole's 6-month-old daughter, Majestic. Mr. Webb swears up and down that he's never even been intimate with Ms. Cole. Meanwhile, Ms. Cole is super confident he's the dad and accuses him of lying to protect his relationship.
Mr. Webb, you and your girlfriend say there's no chance whatsoever that you fathered the defendant's 6-month-old daughter, Majestic. You say your evidence will shock this courtroom. Cole, you and your mother say you're 100% certain that Mr. Webb is your child's biological father and say the only reason he's denying your baby is to save his relationship with the woman he's been with past 3 years.
Ms. Cole says she got pregnant with Majestic on April 11th after sleeping with Mr. Webb, but Mr. Webb fires back, saying they've never been intimate and calling her a liar. The courtroom gets loud as Ms. Cole doubles down and Mr. Webb calls her crazy.
I know for a fact the dates line up, and I know he stayed with me for 2 months, and he slept in my bed with me for one night, and we had sex. April 11th.
We never had sex or anything. We were just friends. We would chill out. That was it. I never stayed in her bedroom. I stayed out on the couch.
That's a lie.
And on top of that, I was only there for a week and a week and a half.
Ms. Cole says Mr. Webb stayed at her house for over a week, and during that time, they were, well, more than just friends. She claims her family took care of him the whole time, but Mr. Webb denies it all, saying he was just crashing on the couch. His girlfriend backs him up, and the courtroom is now a mix of yelling, arguing, and side-eyeing.
I wasn't living there. We were hanging out for a week and a half. Right. And on top of that, April 18th, I had moved back to Detroit. How was I there for 3 months? She had knew about it. We were friends. She trusts me. She knows I'm not like that.
I've known him for 7 years, and he is not like that at all. And you called me, and you called me with his friend telling me that he was there for 3 weeks and you guys were having sex and blah, blah, blah. At first, I did believe that.
He shows texts from Ms. Cole where she admits there's another guy who could be Majestic's dad. But she also says the timing makes Mr. Webb the most likely choice. Mr. Webb isn't having it, though, calling her messages proof that she's unsure and just making stuff up.
This is how this went, the first message. She messaged me saying, hey, I got an ultrasound. I said, okay, can we leave it at that, Tasha? It's not my baby. I'm trying to do right in my life, stay out of my life in the inbox. At this point, I'm thinking, I feel like she's trying to say that I'm the baby daddy, but just hinting, not actually saying it. What came next? I told her, I said, I'm not trying to be mean. I just want this to end. Because I'm not a mean person. I'm not a hateful person.
Ms. Cole shows a calendar with dates marked to prove when she and Mr. Webb were together and when she thinks she got pregnant. But there's one little issue. Her timeline overlaps with another guy she was with. The courtroom is buzzing as people try to figure out if this calendar helps her case or just makes it messier.
In red is the date you were intimate with Mr. Webb on the 11th of April.
Yeah.
The window of conception is in blue.
Yeah.
So that's the week prior to the 11th. And then Majestic was born on the 28th of January, correct?
Yes.
When were you intimate with the other guy?
May 15th, 16th.
How do you get those two mixed up? That's over a month. How are you gonna say that you think it's him and then over a month?
The DNA results are in, and guess what?
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Webb, you are not her father.
Oh! Yeah, you're crazy. You need to go to a mental hospital.
This case starts wild and gets wilder. Judge Lake introduces Capples versus Harris, where Miss Capples claims Mr. Harris is her 15-month-old son, Jason's dad. Mr. Harris, supported by his girlfriend, denies it and says, let me live my life. Buckle up, it's about to get messier.
You say you are 100% certain that the defendant is your 15-month-old son, Jason's biological father, and today he's going to put his name on the dotted line right in front of his girlfriend. You and your girlfriend say there is no way you are Jay's father, and once the results are revealed, you want the plaintiff to leave you alone.
Ms. Kapples admits they weren't a couple, just hooking up after meeting on Facebook. She even made him her man crush Monday, which is awkward now. No love story here, just a messy timeline bombshell waiting to drop.
Me and Mr. Harris started talking. We used to go to high school together. We're Facebook friends. Mr. Harris, I made him my man crush Monday. He's a good guy, hardworking, good father. We messaged back and forth on Facebook for a while. After that, we exchanged numbers, and after that, we started hanging out, getting up, and it just kind of went from there.
Ms. Kapples brings out a timeline, claiming her conception dates align with being with Mr. Harris. She's got evidence, but Mr. Harris shrugs, saying, I don't remember dates. Then it's revealed he doesn't even know her real name.
As you can see, my son Jason was born January 9th, 2016. Me and Mr. Harris were intimate for 9 months, all the way up until May. We started talking around September, Mr. Harris. Like I said, all the way up until the beginning of May. If you go back 9 months, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, it'll bring you to April.
He only knew her as Muffin, which the judge finds shocking. You didn't know her actual name? She asks. Mr. Harris's response? Yeah. Cue cringing as we head to the hospital drama.
When we contacted Mr. Harris and told him that Ms. Shatera Kapples summoned him for a DNA test, he said, I don't know who you're talking about. I said, Muffin?
That is correct.
I'm pretty sure I told him my name. Would you remember Shantira or would you remember Muffin? Would I go by around town?
If you having sex for that many months with the same person without using any protection, you gotta at least know their name.
Mr. Harris skipped the birth, claiming work, and later refused to sign the birth certificate because the baby didn't look like him. Ms. Kapples was furious, and things got worse when we found out who else was there.
When you came up to the hospital to see the baby, did you sign the birth certificate?
No, I did not.
Because you did not want to, or you were not even asked?
Well, I wasn't asked. I had my doubts. I had been had my doubts.
She wasn't even there for the birth.
I
mean, we did. So what? Were you at work when she went into labor? Probably, but you were at the hospital, right? Does not matter. That might not even be your baby. And what?
Plot twist. His girlfriend worked at the hospital and was on Miss Kapples' floor. Miss Kapples says she was messy, while the girlfriend insists she was professional. The judge tries to keep order, but chaos reigns.
What is this about the hospital room, Miss Kapples?
She was undergoing surgery, getting ready to have my tubes tied.
That is my job.
As a woman, I would not want to be in a room with a woman that's having my boyfriend's baby.
Okay, so you were the patient.
That's a little too much.
But wait a minute, Miss Kapples. You work at the hospital. It was where they told you your station or where you were supposed to be. You were assigned to that.
Today, we got our stuff to do. Yes, ma'am.
The results are in.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Harris, you are not the father.
Thank you.
You didn't sleep with no one else.
There you go. We good.
This case kicks off wild right away. Ms. Hummel claims Mr. Pack is the dad of her 8-month-old baby, Lola, but he denies it, blaming his girlfriend, Ms. Fuentas. Determined to prove him wrong, Ms. Hummel insists on a DNA test. Meanwhile, Mr. Pack and Ms. Fuentas just want her out of their lives. Buckle up, because this is only the beginning of the chaos.
You claim you were caught in a love triangle with the defendant and his current girlfriend, which has left him denying he fathered your 8-month-old daughter, Lola, for a DNA test to prove that he is her biological father. You and your current girlfriend 100% certain you are not Lola's biological father, and when the results prove it, you want Ms. Hummel out of your life for good.
Hold on to your seats as the court delves into Ms. Fuentes' history. Turns out she's been involved with multiple men from the same family, and she's not denying a thing. The drama intensifies as secrets spill and accusations fly, setting the stage for even more chaos.
She has been known to sleep around while in relationships.
Well, Ms. Fuentes, we hate to bring up the past, but you've appeared in this court.
I have.
Before.
Yep.
You've been in this courtroom. In this particular hearing, you pretty much admitted to the fact that you had had sex with several members of the same family.
Yes.
Ms. Fuentes admits to sleeping with her ex during the crucial time frame her baby Anthony might have been conceived. With no protection involved, the courtroom buzzes with disbelief. The paternity mystery deepens, and tensions rise as everyone scrambles to make sense of the messy timeline.
Well, the way I feel about it is if you've seen my other two kids, they look identical. The one with the man that I slept with, my ex. This baby looks nothing like them. He looks like him.
I wish we could go on looks, but we can't in this courtroom. And the truth is, regardless of what you think, it still doesn't mean anything, because the truth is Mr. Pack just stated in court that he is concerned.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Hummel reveals that she and Mr. Pack had been on and off since 2015. When she got pregnant, they broke up because he wouldn't get a job, only for him to move in with Ms. Fuentes 2 days later. She's left pregnant and confused while they argue over who was sleeping where and when.
Your Honor, there is also
another 2 guys in the beginning of the relationship before I came that lived in the vicinity where she lived at.
That is wrong. I dated one guy and we had broke up in December and we got back together in January.
That is wrong, because during January to March, we did not have no sexual at all. And the baby is born in November, so that time does not add up.
We were together.
Mr. Pack pulls out a calendar to argue he wasn't with Ms. Hummel during Lola's conception, but she counters, saying he was at her house almost every night. Stories clash, confusion reigns, and the crowd eats up the drama. All eyes are now on the DNA test results to settle the dispute.
He submitted a calendar to the court that outlines why he believes he is not Lola's biological father. So, Mr. Pack, you say that during January, February, and March, you were broken up with Miss Hummel. You had no sex with her.
Yes, Your Honor.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Pack, you are the father.
I told you.
This case starts wild. A guy named Mr. Jenkins shows up, claiming he's Andrea Bond's long-lost dad. He says he's been looking for her for 24 years, but Andrea's not buying it. Her birth certificate doesn't even list a dad, so she's ready to shut this down.
Mr. Jenkins, you reached out to the court to open a case. You believe that you have a long-lost daughter and hope to one day find her to prove you are her father. So we've located the woman you believe is your daughter, and she's here in court today.
Andrea's story is heartbreaking. Her parents died in a car accident in 1999, leaving her to be raised by relatives. Now she's homeless and raising 2 boys, and the struggle is real. The room shifts big time, and her pain is clear, setting up an emotional case.
He died in a car accident in 1999 with my mother, and I believe that was my father.
You don't have any information?
No information.
No one's ever told you anything?
No one's ever told me anything.
And Mr. Jenkins,
Yes.
You have known about this young woman all her life.
I've been looking for her over 24 years, Your Honor. Me and her mother was in college together. And I'm telling you, she was banging. I mean.
Mr. Jenkins brings out an old ultrasound picture, claiming he was super involved during Andrea's mom's pregnancy. He says he's kept it for 24 years, which is sweet but intense. The court's reactions are split between awe and, wait, is this real?
It's an ultrasound picture that I used to go to the hospital with her.
So when you found out she was pregnant,
I was excited. I said, I got my first child. I got a girl. You know, I was just blown away.
So this is an ultrasound picture of Miss Bond?
Yes.
That you've saved all these years?
Over 24 years, I've been saving that picture right there.
Mr. Jenkins's efforts Andrea isn't holding back, asking why he didn't show up sooner if he cared so much. She questions how hard he actually tried to find her. The tension skyrockets, and Mr. Jenkins struggles to explain.
I used to go over one of your family members' house. I used to come over there every Christmas. I used to go there. It kept me out on the porch. I knocked on doors. I'd like to submit one more thing to the court.
I have a Facebook page. If you went for social media, you could have found me.
I did everything I could do. I've been looking for you over 24 years. That's one of your numbers that I had contacted.
Mr. Jenkins says Andrea's family blocked him out after her mom died. He claims he left his number and kept trying, but Andrea isn't buying it. The truth feels blurry, and the court's on edge.
I lost contact, like I told you, after people got in her head, took her away from me. I went by there and left my phone number, and Xavier called me. I was excited. I could get my girl, I could see my baby now. I said, well, where are you?
You should have saw me regardless of whether or not she was in another relationship. You shouldn't have let anything get in between you being with her or you seeing me, being around me, raising me.
Mr. Jenkins reveals he's worried about dying without a will after watching Prince's situation. He says he wants to leave everything to Andrea, so he doubled down on finding her. It's a heartfelt moment, but all eyes are on the DNA results.
Not just a while back, you know, music artist Prince had died. He didn't have any estate or nothing to leave any of his stuff to. So the things that I have or the things that I accomplished in life, I like to leave them to my daughter.
And you look at him. Do you see yourself at all? Do you say, I kind of feel like I look like him?
I look more like him to me, in my opinion.
The big reveal.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Jenkins, you are her father.
Another one of his family members had texted me. He said, Trey's cheating on you, which we call him Trey, but his name is John. Me, I was hurt. And so I went to be by myself at the pool area where I was at the time. A guy walked up to me and he's like, well, you look like you need somebody to talk to. Do you want to go to my camper and talk?
Over a man who's taking advantage of both of you, and then you sit up and say you don't feel some kind of way because I see too much. If he just leave me alone, I'll be all right. He don't just slip on a banana peel and land between your legs. No!
This case went from 0 to 100 real fast. Mr. Rash believes his wife, Ms. Fuentes, has been cheating everywhere, even with 5 brothers from the same family. He's forgiven her multiple times, but now questions if the kids are even his. Just when things can't get wilder, Ms. Fuentes drops a bomb. Escalates when Ms. Fuentes admits to cheating, but insists Mr. Rash knew from the start. Then, she reveals another man is waiting outside because he might be the real father. Mr. Rash looks stunned as the courtroom collectively gasps. Before anyone recovers, another mess unfolds.
About her hooking up with them. I mean, right there.
So did you confront her?
Yeah.
Now, we enter custody drama. Ms. Fuentes claims Mr. Rash did it because she was out partying instead of parenting. The courtroom watches like a tennis match, unsure who to believe.
I had gotten with another dude, and I was taking care of my kids. He actually took my kid.
Talk about brutal honesty. Ms. Fuentes confesses she never loved Mr. Rash. He looks absolutely crushed, questioning why she married. This is the kind of moment you pause to process. Ms. Fuentes admits to hooking up with one of 5 brothers during a 4th. Rash is furious, questioning how she could love one brother but sleep with another. Even the judge looks exhausted by the madness. Enter Mr. Judd, one of the many brothers, casually confirming he slept with Ms. Fuentes. When asked if he thinks he's the dad, he shrugs, saying, "Nah, the kid don't look like me." Judge Lake reminds him DNA doesn't care about looks. Mr. Judd already seems to regret showing up.
The time of conception matches. You understand that, right? That at the time the child was conceived, you were sleeping with her.
Correct.
Mrs. Judd takes the stand and shocks everyone by saying, "She didn't sleep with all my sons, just some of them." Mr. Rash is visibly stressed, just wanting to know if the kids are his. He says he's been there from the start and hopes for confirmation. The audience sympathizes but braces for the results. The tension is thick as Judge Lake prepares to reveal the truth.
What do you want from today? What is it?
Just want my kids to be mine, and, I'm just going to continue to do what I'm doing.
Do you still want a relationship with Ms. Fuentes?
You know what? In light of all this, no. I don't even care anymore.
Mr. Judd, you...
This story is straight up messy from the start. Mr. Brown says he found an intimate violence tape of his wife with another man, and now thinks the baby isn't his. The court is about to bring in that guy, and things are about to get even worse.
Mr. Brown, you say there is no way you are Amira's biological father. After finding a sex tape of your wife with another man, you now intend to prove he fathered Amira. We'll meet that man in a moment.
Mr. Brown found the video because their kids grabbed Ms. McKinney's phone, and he snatched it just in time. He played the video, saw something nasty, and shut it off real quick. Now the courtroom is about to meet the star of the show, the other man.
One day, the girls, they like snatching her phone. So they grabbed her phone. Before they could even get to the video, I grabbed it and it pressed play. And I seen the beginning of the video and I didn't see what I liked, so I just disclosed it. I didn't watch the whole video.
What was in her phone?
Scrolling through her pictures, whatever. And before they could even get to it, I grabbed the phone.
Oh, because you knew it was something inappropriate.
Yeah, it didn't look like a video, so I clicked on it. I didn't like what I seen and I disclosed it.
The man from the tape, Jonathan Fowler, walks in like nothing's wrong. He admits he had a year-long thing with Ms. McKinney and met her while her husband was right there. This just keeps getting messier, and now Ms. McKinney's story is falling apart.
Mr. Brown found a sex tape of his wife and you in her phone. Is that true?
Yes. Well, when I first met Miss McKinley, we was talking on the dating site, and the day I met her, Mr. Brown was present, but they wasn't together. But I seen them face to face.
Oh!
The dates are not adding up at all. Ms. McKinney told Fowler she was pregnant in June 2017, but he says they stopped hooking up months before that. Nobody knows what's going on, and the judge's face says it all.
Me and Miss McKinney met up, and she told me she was pregnant in June of 2017, summer.
What did she tell you exactly?
That she's pregnant and she's ready to give birth.
So who did she say the father was?
She didn't tell me
I
nothing.
said it was complicated.
I believe it was complicated because, like I said,
I was back and forth with him and him.
What's April 9th, and Amira was born April 9th.
Mr. Brown refused to sign the birth certificate, and so did Ms. McKinney. She didn't want him on it because of child support, and now everyone is confused. If you think this is bad, just wait for what's next.
When Amira was born, where were you? Were you there?
I was present.
Did you sign the birth certificate?
No, I did not.
I refused to let him sign it.
I said no because Amira didn't look like me. That's why I said no.
That too.
Why did you refuse?
Because since we're married and I get public assistance, they're gonna try to hit him with child support.
But you all were legally married. So why would he have to be on the hook for child support if you're legally married?
I didn't want him to sign a birth certificate.
The results drop, and boom.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Fowler, you are not the father.
Thank you.
This case is straight up wild from the start. Fisher regrets signing the birth certificate because Doyle just told him he might not be the dad. He loves them both, but his whole world is about to flip upside down.
Mr. Fisher, you claim you made the biggest mistake of your life by signing the birth certificate for 2-month-old Sophia. You say your fiance dropped a bomb on you just 1 month ago and admitted you may not be her father.
Doyle explains how she got tricked into thinking Fisher cheated, so she went and did the same thing. Turns out, Fisher never cheated, so she ruined everything for nothing. This is some next-level bad decision-making.
I was on vacation with one of his family members in Florida, and another one of his family members had texted me. He said, Trey's cheating on you, which we call him Trey, but his name is John. Me, I was hurt, and so I went to be by myself at the pool area where I was at the time. A guy walked up to me, and he's like, well, you look like you need somebody to talk to. Do you want to go to my camper and talk? So
Fisher was clueless until after Sophia was born, and then Doyle finally spilled the truth. He had already bonded with Sophia, so this news crushed him. And just to make it worse, he had proposed while she was keeping this secret.
The day that I found out she was pregnant, she had threw up like 3 or 4 times because she was feeling sick. We purchased the pregnancy tests. She took them. One had a faint line, and then one had both lines. And I was happy. That was the best day of my life.
So whenever I seen the lines, I was kind of upset. I was like, well, this isn't happening, you know?
Fisher thought he was living in a love story, but really, it was a disaster movie. Doyle knew the truth, but still said yes, hoping it would just go away. Spoiler, it did not.
What happens in your relationship?
I told her, I went to work that day, and I was thinking about proposing to her because I love her. She's my world. I got home that day. I had the ring in my pocket. I told her how I felt. I said, I love you. You're my world. You're everything I've ever wanted. I want to take this family to a whole nother level. Will you marry me? She said yes.
Fisher was the happiest man alive, coaching Doyle through labor and signing the birth certificate. He had no idea he was in an emotional landmine. Now, everything he thought was real is in question.
When she was giving birth, I held her hand. I felt like I was the dad, which at the time, I was pretty sure I was. I held her. I kept telling her, push, push, push. I want to see my baby. And afterwards, right there, I held her. I signed the birth certificate and everything because I thought it was my baby.
The courtroom calendar exposes the ugly truth. The baby's birth date lines up exactly with the time Doyle was in Florida with Camper Guy. Fisher is staring at the math like it just personally attacked him.
Sophia was born on January 15th. You took vacation April 21st to May 1st. And that's the window of time in which you cheated.
Yes, Your Honor.
When you calculate it, the window of conception would be between April 19th to April 26th for a child born on January 15th.
Yes, Your Honor.
Instead of flipping out, Fisher says he'll love Sophia no matter what. Everyone in the room is shook because this is not the reaction they expected. Even Doyle is crying because she knows she doesn't deserve this much kindness.
That's my baby no matter what. And you're my wife. I love you.
Why did that bring you to tears, Miss Doyle?
Because he's so understanding, and if it were me in his position, I wouldn't have stayed.
You don't know how hard it is.
The moment of truth is here, and Fisher is sweating bullets.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Fisher, you are the father.
Oh boy, this is already messy. Ms. Thomas and Mr. Nelson were together for 6 years, had 5 kids, and now he's questioning the last one? This is just the start of a wild ride.
Ms. Thomas, you claim you spent 6 years in a relationship with the defendant, Mr. Taylor, and gave him 5 beautiful children. In return, he cheated on you and is now questioning the paternity of your youngest child, 8-month-old Jakai. You are here to prove paternity and win him back.
Turns out both of them were messing around. Mr. Nelson says she was already with other guys when she got pregnant. But Ms. Thomas swears he was the only one. Somebody is definitely lying, and we're about to find out who.
It was good in the beginning when we first started having children. And then after that, it's like me and her started like both doing our own little thing. And we was already about to split, but she ended up getting pregnant. But at that time, she was already messing around with other guys. So I didn't know what to believe.
It was rocky, but I was not sleeping with different men. Mr. Nelson was the only one that I was sleeping with at the time, especially during my conception date.
Ms. Thomas says he cheated the whole time. She stayed because of their history, but he claims the relationship was already over. If that's true, why is he still acting so mad?
He cheated on me throughout almost our whole entire relationship. We went through hard times. Why wouldn't you want to make something like that work with somebody you had all these years with, all these kids with, and you just want to...
That's why I don't even know the chat, like, man.
He gave up the relationship. I wish it was that easy for me during them times to just throw it away.
It was easy. I asked her, Your Honor, I said, are you gonna leave this guy alone? She said no.
Mr. Nelson went full detective mode and found things in her purse, a man's photo on her phone, and noticed she started coming home late. Ms. Thomas says he was already emotionally checked out, but the real proof is coming next.
How did you find that out?
The dude picture was popping up on her phone.
It didn't start like that. He decided to leave because at that time we did grow apart.
I used to find stuff in her purse and everything. She'd be like, I'm going to work today. She'd come back and be like, you like this outfit right here? I'm like, yeah, where you going? If anything, I've been here with the kids all day long, all 4 of them. She did. She came in at 5 o'clock in the morning. I was like, where you come from? So I'm grown. I can do what I want to do.
Ms. Thomas pulls out an ovulation app like she's in science class. She says she only slept with Mr. Nelson during her fertile days and even brought receipts. But before he can argue, someone else is about to call him out.
I also had an app on my phone tracking my periods when I'm ovulating, and I have it right here.
So you were tracking your cycle. Was this with the intention of getting pregnant or not getting pregnant?
He actually wanted me to get pregnant.
She told me all them days with him. She said that's why every time she had sex with him.
And now his wife steps up. She found a video proving he was still sleeping with Ms. Thomas. Oh, and the way she caught him? Priceless.
It's a video I found. The video is dated April 3rd, which would have been, the first day or so that she had showed up in Greensboro. All I know is I saw her demeanor when she came around, and she was kind of like, hi, Steph. And I'm like, okay, this is a person that's supposedly supposed to be so hurt. Like, why is she grinning? And then I saw his demeanor, and he looked guilty. I put 2 and 2 together. That's not right. Why is she extra happy and he's looking crazy?
Mr. Nelson finally confesses after getting caught again. Ms. Thomas then drops another bomb. He's been telling her he still wants to get back together. The audience loses it, and Judge Lake is ready to end him.
So, Mr. Nelson, your wife discovered a video of you having sex with your ex, now mistress.
Yes. I made a slip up.
He's comfortable from going from wifey to side chick.
I'm not nobody's side chick because your husband is the one that tells me he wants to leave.
But that makes you a side chick.
No,
that makes you a side chick. We're legally married.
Wait a minute. No, it does.
Ms. Thomas brings receipts, text messages from 3 weeks ago where he promised to leave his wife. His wife is shocked, and Mr. Nelson looks like he wants to disappear. But Ms. Thomas isn't done yet.
He texts me. He calls me and tells me how much he misses me and wants to be with me. Right. It's not the other way around. And I have messages to be with me.
Did you bring the messages to court with you?
Yes, Your Honor.
These messages are dated from 3 weeks ago. What is your plan for real? So are you really gonna leave her this time? Mr. Nelson, I want my family back.
Ms. Thomas finally lets it all out. She thought they'd always be together, and now she's watching him move on like she never mattered. Judge Lake tells her the hard truth. They're both being played.
Over a man who's taking advantage of both of you, and then you sit up and say you don't feel some kind of way because I see too much. If he just leave me alone, I'll be all right. He don't just slip on a banana peel and land between your legs. No!
The moment everyone's been waiting for. Is he the father?
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Nelson, you are the father.
This case started off wild, and the wife was not holding back. Ms. Brown Murray was mad her husband thought she cheated while she was literally dodging bombs overseas. She swears she stayed loyal, but her husband's doubts were about to take center stage.
Today you say you stand before me outraged because your husband has accused you of infidelity while serving in Iraq. Furthermore, you claim he now doubts paternity of your child. You argue that your wife did indeed cheat on you while serving overseas. You contend that there's no way you could be the father because she announced she was pregnant too soon after returning home.
Mr. Murray was straight up stressed out while his wife was away, losing 25 pounds from all the worrying. He was scared younger guys would steal her since he's 22 years older, and then a bomb literally shook his computer during a Skype call. Just when you think it couldn't get worse, he found out she had a male friend overseas.
She went overseas the day after Valentine's. What made it scary for me, first time me being alone in another state with no family. Is she still gonna have love for me? It's a lot of men's on basically younger men's. Keep in mind, I'm 22 years older than my wife. So that has a lot to do with my being guilty or bad conscience.
Oh boy, here we go, the just a friend excuse. Ms. Brown Murray says the guy was only a buddy, but her husband wasn't buying it. To prove his point, he brought in a mystery witness to spill some military secrets.
Yes, because I guess he was scared because I had a friend while I was over there. I mean, I built a friendship with a friend, so I guess that's the reason why he...
Well,
a male friend.
Yes.
It was also a judge. While I was there in the apartment complex, I met a few people. Like, have 85% of military people either still active or not. He said, which really, this is when I really got worried.
The anonymous military witness was so dramatic, it felt like a spy movie. He claimed cheating was super common on base and that soldiers live by the rule. What happens on base stays on base. Ms. Brown Murray shut that down real quick. But then Mr. Murray pulled out his next big clue.
Well, first and foremost, I don't want to bring any discredit upon the military because the actions of soldiers, they do not reflect the military. There are a lot of times where you join the military and you're away from home, and so the first thing you can do is cling to people who are around you. You develop a camaraderie. Pretty much what goes on base stays on base.
Mr. Murray went full FBI mode after hearing his wife giggle on the phone, saying he's not stupid. He thought she was mocking him and hiding something, but she said he just doesn't get guy-girl friendships. Then, out of nowhere, he dropped the biggest bomb. He didn't even think the baby looked like him.
She's talking to him. I heard her tell him he's not stupid. She ain't talking to her mother like that. She ain't talking to her sister like, who are you talking to? She said his name. And I said, she said, the man called you. I said, well, who's he calling stupid? And she said, you?
What?
And I said, why would he call me stupid? Because you got new shoes and you're excited.
Now, the baby drama really kicked in. Mr. Murray had low sperm count, his baby looked nothing like him, and his wife got pregnant way too fast. The only way to settle this? A DNA test.
I had doubt. I had a man's discharge is unusual, and the doctor told me years ago that it had something to do with my sperm cells were weak. When she got home, it happened so fast.
It has been determined by this court that you are her father.
Thank you.
This was totally insane. Mr. Webb wakes up from a coma and finds out Ms. Forrest is pregnant with a baby that could be his or her husband's. Now he's here ready to fight for full custody.
You have been waiting 2 years for this day. You claim the defendant, Mrs. Forrest, left you for dead only to find out once you got out of a coma that she was pregnant and that the baby could be yours or her husband. You and your husband are here today desperate to put an end to this drama. You say you have no doubt your daughter's biological father is indeed your husband.
This whole thing is messier than a spilled milkshake. Ms. Forrest met Mr. Webb while her husband was in trouble, and they hit it off. She left her husband, and they didn't use protection, which led to, well, this.
My husband got in some trouble, and I ended up meeting Mr. Webb through one of my friends. We hit it off. I ended up leaving Mr. Forrest for Mr. Webb.
So you began a sexual relationship?
Yes, Your Honor.
Were you using protection at the time?
No, Your Honor.
It didn't happen like that at first. Yes, we was in love, but towards the end, I was on life support.
No.
Imagine waking up from a coma and finding out you might be a dad. Yikes. His aunt tells him first, then Ms. Forrest calls and says, yeah, there's a chance. Mr. Webb is sitting there like, what now?
As soon as I got out of hospital, I had got a phone call saying that she was pregnant. I heard it from my aunt first, but on my way to Illinois with my dad, she had called me and told me that it was a possibility that Elena was my child.
So that means she was admitting that she also had slept with other people?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge Lake asks if she was with anyone else, and Ms. Forrest says, nope. Mr. Webb instantly calls her a liar, and things get real awkward. The audience is just sitting there like, oof, this is getting messy.
Were you sleeping with anyone else besides Mr. Webb and your husband?
No, Your Honor.
That's a lie,
But when
Your
you
Honor.
called Mr. Webb and said, I'm pregnant.
Which I didn't get back to Miss Forrest until after Travis had done left, or Mr. Webb has done left.
I have a letter from my mom where I was on life support when she came to drop off my stuff.
Which we were already
she had
broken
moved
up by
into
then.
a hotel.
Ms. Forrest claims she only slept with her husband when the baby was conceived. But Mr. Webb says, no, we were together right before I went into the hospital. The dates are all over the place, and now nobody knows what to believe.
My daughter was born on May 9th of 2013. And then you take it back 9 months later, that takes it to the week of August 26th through August 31st.
August 26th through August 31st, you were sleeping with your...
Just my husband.
The thing about it, Your Honor, is the day that before I went on to life support, we did have sex.
Mr. Webb finds out about the baby through Facebook. not even from Ms. Forrest. She says she told his family, but he's like, then why didn't anyone tell me? Now everyone is pointing fingers, and Judge Lake is over it.
I had got an email on Facebook from my aunt that Miss Forrest had Elena.
So you got news that the baby was born. You didn't hear from Miss Forrest herself.
No, Your Honor, not at first.
You heard through your family.
Yes, Your Honor.
I messaged his mother on Facebook and told her what hospital I was going to be at, when I was going to the hospital and everything. Him or his family knew. Nobody showed up.
Mr. Webb has tried for 2 years to meet his daughter, but Ms. Forrest keeps blocking him. He even spent his last $80 on gas to drive there, only to get ghosted. This is just straight up sad.
He wanted to go.
I have from Illinois. Whenever she told me that I could meet Elena, I spent the last $80 I had to put in gas, changed her phone number, and blocked me on Facebook. 3 weeks later,
And
I
it's
tried to
changed.
contact her to meet Elena, and she would not contact me back. That is why
And
we
so,
are here today.
Elena is 2 years old, has still not held this baby?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Webb says if the baby is his, he wants full custody. Ms. Forrest and her husband basically yell, "Not happening!" The courtroom is so tense you could cut it with a butter knife.
This DNA test proves that I am Elena's father. I will fight for my full custody rights.
and I will fight you for custody.
There's no way he is getting my daughter.
So, Mr. Forrest, you're convinced you're Elena.
Where he is.
Oh, wait. Are you? No. I'm saying, are you convinced you're her biological father?
There's a possibility, yes.
Judge Lake reads the results, and boom.
That her biological father is Mr. Webb